everybody, and welcome to the show from Common Room Radio. I'm Sarah Kate Bazan, and if you told me a week ago that I'd be here with you two about to blow up some building and fighting ninjas to save New York...
I'm Alistair Stevens, and for whatever it's worth, I'm glad you're here. The circumstances could be better. I'm just saying, I'm glad we found each other.
And I'm Vinton Bain, and I'm not hugging you.
You would if I asked you to, though.
Yeah.
And welcome to Excelsior, and this week we are doing the second half of the Netflix series, The Defenders, the last 4 episodes.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
We talked about this last week. We talked about the first 4 episodes. We were pretty hot on it. We enjoyed it very much.
Yes.
Quick go around the room here. First half of Defenders, greater than, less than. Second half of Defenders. Sarah?
I think that episode 4 and episode 8 of this series are really, really good.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about the rest of it.
Okay, I can see that. I think episode 4 and episode 8 are standouts. Vinton, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think 4, 6, and 8 are my favorite episodes for sure. I think there's some lulls in there. I like the overall way that it ends, but it really never gets better than episode 4, I think.
I agree. Yeah, I think that whenever we finally get them coming together is probably like our best moment.
Right.
And there is a significant plot swerve in the back half of the season, which is kind of a misfire.
Yeah.
Kind of a pretty powerful misfire.
Yeah.
Don't get rid of your awesome primary antagonist and replace her with your much less awesome
Why did they
secondary
kill my
antagonist.
supervillain mom?
It's a tragic question that only they can answer.
I'm so depressed.
They
Defenders
must
season 2.
answer.
Why
We
did
will
we kill
make
Sigourney
them
Weaver?
answer.
So Vinton, flip over the VHS and tell us a little bit about the back half of this season.
All right. Our 4 heroes, Unbreakable, White Savior, Parkour Devil, and Super Drunk, have finally united, joining a man who hates the Hand so much that he cut off one of his own. They stand ready to fight Daredevil's zombie ninja girlfriend. Can they defeat an ancient secret organization with vague evil plans without becoming domestic terrorists? Will Punisher show up? Will there be dragons? Find out in Defenders Part 2, Secret of the Ooze.
You're going to be disappointed in the answer to all of those questions. Respectively, no, and kind of?
I mean, there's kind of dragons.
Yeah.
There's a big old dragon skeleton.
I just gotta be proud of myself for a second. That last joke in that really made me super proud. I was able to throw a Ninja Turtles reference, and it completely matches because they're looking for the substance. It's an ooze.
It might as well be the ooze.
I'm very proud.
For thousands of years, the Hand has sought immortality and yet never taken the time to name the substance.
It's just the substance.
No, that's its proper name. It's got a capital S.
Yep. All other substances are just references to it.
Oh, yeah. Dragons don't actually
I
have
can't believe it's not the substance.
I can't believe
It's like when you call tissues Kleenex, you're calling it substance.
It's
Well, that's
genericized.
referring back here.
Right. Band-Aids.
It's lost all meaning.
When I first saw the giant dragon skeleton, my immediate thought was, oh shit, it's a Chitauri Leviathan. And I got really excited. That's not what it was, though.
That's not what it was. No, we're back to doing,
which makes way more sense.
mystical stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
fine.
the Chitauri are kind of mystical.
They're
Cosmic.
aliens. That's not mystical. Yes, cosmic and mystical. Those are the 2 alternate sides of the MCU.
Yep. In the same way that
First 2
Thor is a
forms.
god and an
Right,
alien.
yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just going to be hitting the major actors here because all the minors will be discussed in their own shows, those other shows that came before, and we don't have a million years to go through all of this. First up, we're going to talk about Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock. I knew him previously for his role in the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Stardust.
Oh my God, he is that guy.
That's him. Yeah.
Yep.
Holy shit.
He's well known for his roles on Boardwalk Empire and The Theory of Everything. Some fun facts. He was raised Roman Catholic, so there's a connection to Daredevil right
Just
there.
like Maddie.
And in October 2016, he became a father to his first child, a daughter with his girlfriend, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Jessica Jones co-producer Samantha Thomas.
That's awesome.
Building the next generation of heroes.
That's right.
Good work, Charlie. He is just spectacular. I
He's
talked
so
about him in
good.
the last episode, talking
Yeah.
about just how good he is, even in this exceptional cast. He's even better, if possible, in the back half of the season. I love what he does with Matt and with Daredevil.
Yeah, he's really one of the standouts of all the Netflix Marvel stuff. Moving on to Kristen Ritter, playing Jessica Jones. Known for her roles in Breaking Bad and Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, she has also appeared in What Happens in Vegas, 27 Dresses, Confessions of a Shopaholic, She's Out of My League, Big Eyes, Gravity, Till Death, Veronica Mars, and The Blacklist.
Wow.
That's a good
Quite
list.
the career.
Yeah. Some fun facts. She was raised on a farm in Shikshini. I don't know how to properly
Shikshini,
say that. But
Pennsylvania,
that's that. And she was not allowed to ride horses, so she rode a cow named Jake.
What?
Fun facts, guys. That's why they're fun.
Wow. I mean, it's surprising. I don't think if we'd sat down and tried to predict the fun fact you would have pulled about Kristen Ritter, that would have been it.
I
But
never would have
sure.
guessed that in a million billion years.
Yeah, no, never. She is also the lead singer, songwriter, and guitar player for the band Ex Vivian.
I have never heard her play, but now I'm going to go look
Yeah,
her up.
I looked it up. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Are they
good.
good?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know
Glad
if
to
I
hear it.
listened to one song, so I can't
Is it
really.
like
give
what
it
is the genre?
I think you'd like it.
Yeah. That's the only music genre I care about. Music I like and music I don't.
It's like grunge mixed with modern pop.
Oh, hell yeah.
modern
Grunge
pop
pop.
rock.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is not what I expected. Something a little more Riot Girl.
Yeah,
But this
so-
is great. Okay.
That's what I thought.
But
too,
I,
and
again, only listen to one song, so
I'm looking them up
can't make
later.
a full judgment. Moving on to Mike Coulter, who plays Luke Cage, known for his roles in Million Dollar Baby and The Good Wife. He has also been in Law & Order, ER, Men in Black 3, Zero Dark
What?
30, Agent X, and The Ringer. He also portrays the role of Agent Jameson Locke in the Halo franchise.
Nice.
Wow, I vaguely remember that character.
Yeah,
but not
apparently
enough to
some of
say
the games
anything about
and
him
some of the
whatsoever.
animated films that they've done.
Wow.
So, some fun facts: he has a Master's of Fine Arts from Rutgers University,
Cool.
and
impressive.
for Men in Black 3, he wore a wig that cost $6,000 because he's bald, and they wanted him to have hair. I guess
That a lot for a wig?
that seems like a lot.
I feel
I
like
don't know.
that's a lot for a wig.
I don't know. I have no idea, but this was actually a fact that was listed under fun facts about him on his Wikipedia page or his IMDb page. So I thought it was worth noting that they went through this horribly large expense for no reason. Why not just have him be bald?
Yeah, he
I
looks
don't
super
understand.
cool.
He wears a hat in that movie, guys. Probably because $6,000 wig wasn't good enough. Moving on to Finn Jones, who plays Danny Rand, known primarily for his role in Game of Thrones. He's
Who was
also
he in Game of Thrones?
I don't know. I don't watch Game of
Loris
Thrones.
Tyrell.
Yeah, that's it. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
who
why
that
I
is
asked.
because
I don't
I
know.
don't
But
watch Game
there
of
are
Thrones.
two people I know in Game of Thrones: Cersei and Daenerys Targaryen.
He's in it for a good long while. He
Yeah?
does, yeah, I don't know, more than 10 episodes, maybe even more than 20 episodes. It's a lot. He's in it for a while.
He also had a short-lived role on the Doctor Who spin-off The Sarah Jane Adventures for 2 episodes.
Aw.
Some fun facts. Jones' birth name is Terrence Terry Jones, but he had to change it to avoid confusion with Terry Jones, a member of Monty Python. Also, his father is a private investigator,
Neat.
like
Cool.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Then I choose to believe that he was at some point a boy detective.
Yes.
Finn Jones, the boy
confirmed.
detective.
I'm just saying, confirming our ongoing theory that Danny Rand is Angus MacDonald.
Very much so confirmed.
It all fits.
Moving on to the wonderful Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire Temple. She made her film debut in 1995 teen drama Kids, which
Sure.
super dark movie.
Yeah.
She was discovered for that role just hanging out on her front porch. They just walked past her and was like, "Hey, do you want to be in the movie?" And she got the star in that movie.
That happens all the time. It doesn't usually work out well.
She has been in He Got Game, Men in Black 2. There's a connection right there.
Sure.
25th Hour, Rent, Sin City, Death Proof, 7 Pounds, and Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Who is she in Sin City?
The Dominatrix.
Oh.
I don't remember the name there.
Now we're going to have to watch Sin City.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. I think I only saw that movie in theaters.
Oh.
Not since. She has provided voice work for Disney and DC, playing Artemis in the animated Wonder Woman feature,
Nice.
Wonder Woman in Justice League versus the Teen Titans, and Batgirl in Lego Batman. For her role in Rent, Dawson won the Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actress, Motion Picture, and for her role in Top 5, she was nominated for the Critics' Movie Choice Award for Best Actress in a Comedy. Some fun facts: she made an appearance in Sesame Street as a child.
Fun.
Excellent.
She co-created the comic miniseries OCT, Occult Crimes Task Force.
What?
Yep, from 2005, 2006, I believe.
Is that any good? It sounds amazing.
I don't know. I've never read it. It's a 4-issue thing, so it'd be pretty
we
quick
need to
one to
check
go.
that
Yeah,
out.
we should
Yeah.
check it out. Also, she speaks Klingon.
like fluently?
Yeah, like I guess. I don't know. All I read was that she's a huge Star Trek fan and can speak Klingon.
Wow.
Excellent.
And is proud of it.
What a dork. I love it.
What a dork.
Rosario Dawson. What a dork.
What a dork.
Next up, we have Elodie Young, who plays Elektra. She was mostly a French actress until her role in the American version of Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Since then, she has most notably appeared in G.I. Joe, Retaliation, Gods of Egypt, and The Hitman's Bodyguard. Some fun facts: she has a black belt in karate.
Well, you'd
And-
hope so.
Yeah, and she auditioned for the role of Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman.
Okay, I don't want to like cast aspersions here or anything, but I'm so glad she did not get Wonder Woman.
Yeah. It's very difficult to judge. I don't know her from other things.
True,
I
yes.
don't think she's good in this series. That may be a consequence of the writing. It may be a
Yeah,
consequence
I'm not
of the
sure.
direction,
Yeah, I
but,
guess it would be interesting to see her in something else. I agree. I don't think that she was super great. And of course, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman.
That's true.
And
Just
no
in
one
real
else.
life?
Just in
Yes.
real life. No,
Yeah.
like for real in real life.
I think that she does a good Elektra, but I don't like Elektra. So by default, I don't really care about her either.
yeah, I'm not convinced by her line reading. I'm not convinced. Physically, she's brilliant. Physically,
Sure,
she's
yeah.
got the
Oh,
look,
yeah.
she's got
I mean,
the
if she's got a
presence,
black
she's
belt in
got
karate.
enormous amounts of physical charisma, but the dialogue is stilted and weird, and I'm just not sure about the accent.
Finally, we have Sigourney Weaver playing Alexandra. And do you really need me to do this one? Everyone knows who Sigourney Weaver is.
Who's Sigourney Weaver?
Most known for her roles in the Alien and Ghostbuster movies, she's had a prolific career. A few of my favorites, aside from those, have been Cabin in the Woods, Galaxy
Yes,
Quest,
yes.
Wall-E, Finding Dory, Baby Mama, and Futurama. Other people would probably want me to mention her role in Avatar, which she is currently working on not one, but 4 sequels to. All at the same time. They come out between the years 2020 and 2025.
Did James Cameron
Thy name
just
is
like
Jimmy Cameron. My
yeah,
God.
Like, did he
Yeah.
lose his mind
Right,
about
I
the whole
don't-
Wonder Woman
I don't
thing?
know.
And it was like, no, I have to make 5 more movies so that
I'll
I
show
can knock
you.
them from
I
the
was
top of the list
so
again.
confused when I got on her IMDb page and the top 4 movies listed are 4 Avatar sequels that she's currently working on.
Did she die in Avatar?
I have no idea. I've never seen it because I don't care.
No, wait.
I've already
I
watched
think they brought her
Pocahontas.
back to life. And Pocahontas is a way better film. I only saw Avatar once, and I was really, really drunk.
So welcome to our thoughts on Avatar here.
Cue angry tweets.
I
saying that we
don't
should watch
recommend.
Avatar.
Listen, I don't recommend seeing
No
that
one-
movie in 3D
No one's
when
going to
you're
go to
that
bat
drunk.
for Avatar.
I can't say
Not in
anything
the
bad
year
about it because I've never seen it.
2017.
I just don't care to see it.
I've seen it. It's not like a disastrous movie, but it's also nothing special.
It
at all.
literally
Are you
is like
saying it doesn't
Pocahontas and
deserve
Dances with Wolves.
4 sequels that are coming out like within a year
I'm
of each other?
Struggling to think of movies that deserve 4 sequels. Skull Hogan versus the World.
Star
There you
Wars.
go. Star
But
Wars.
they already did.
Moving on, Weaver has been nominated 4 times for an Academy Award, 3 BAFTAs, 1 win, and 7 Golden Globes with 2 wins. She's also earned Tony and Drama Desk nominations for her work on the stage. Some fun facts: she changed her name at the age of 14, choosing Sigourney from a minor character in The Great Gatsby, Mrs. Sigourney Howard.
Good name.
Also, connecting to our teaser trailer for the show, she's afraid to ride in elevators. That's some
Wait,
fun facts
really?
with Sigourney Weaver. Yep, that's true.
Pretty great. She's magnificent.
She's
as we
so
said
good.
last time,
So
just
good.
so good in this show. And, you know, it's great to see that she survives all the way to the end and will probably be back for Defenders 2. That's not true. That's not a thing that's going to happen. We had to kill her off so that Elektra could be the primary antagonist.
It's
I
the
that has to
don't
run.
understand.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
I guess.
Speaking of
Yeah.
getting there, let's jump right into episode 5, Take Shelter.
Now, I predicted back when we talked about the end of episode 4 that we would see an anticlimactic battle scene at the beginning of episode 5. And I mean, to an extent, that's true, but it's also a really great opening sequence.
Yeah. Yes.
We do a lot with this fight scene. I thought it was going to be dispensed with very, very quickly. There would be some kind of confusion in which our heroes would run off and kind of regroup elsewhere because we're not ready for the final climactic showdown. But we actually stick with this. And this
Yes.
is one of a handful of so intricately choreographed fight sequences that we get, particularly in the back half of the series, that I just surprisingly adored it.
Yeah, this is one of the best fight sequences in the whole thing. I think I have like a top 3 maybe, and
Yeah.
this is probably
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah, this one's yeah. I'm excited for us to get to what was my favorite fight sequence in the entire series.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple episodes from now.
So we start off with Madame Gal, Sawande, and Murakami are gearing up. Murakami dives through the skylight in the Golden Dragon restaurant, landing on and crushing a table. But that's pretty epic. I mean,
Yeah,
just the way he
that's
just
pretty
dives right
hardcore.
in
Yeah.
and just fighting stance. Let's go. That's pretty intense. The defenders and Stick begin fighting both him and Elektra as Alexandra slowly escapes.
Peace, dude.
Slowly escapes.
She does. She kind
Step
of
by
lingers
step,
and
yeah.
watches as she just
She's
like fades
like,
away.
Slides out of frame.
Madame
out.
Gal does it later at the end of the series. She just kind of fades away, but it shows her just like watching as she's like slowly fading away. It's weird.
It's just like Batman and Robin at the end of the Batman 66 movie.
Let's just slowly walk away. I choose to believe that they also dropped ropes out of windows and just
Well, you know, Sigourney Weaver won't ride in an elevator, so she just
she carries
grapples
she
everywhere.
carries
Yeah.
the back grapple. Swande's men descend on the restaurant, firing and shooting up the place. Stick tells the defenders that the Hand wants Danny. Gao shoots one of Swande's men in the back of the head and says, "We want him alive," which I thought was pretty epic.
That is
Yeah.
such a great moment. She's magnificent.
Yeah,
in that
she
half of
really
the series.
is.
Yeah.
The defenders fall back and Stick says, "We work together and we walk out of here alive," as Matt rushes past the men and grabs Elektra.
Did you not hear what I just said, Maddie? Did you not? It's fine.
It's fine. The rest of our protagonists brawl in the restaurant as Matt lures Elektra out back, trying to talk sense into her. When he calls her Elektra, she pauses. Murakami interrupts them, and Elektra hits him away, and she runs off. Swande pushes Luke in front of an oncoming garbage truck and then takes off in a van. Gao knocks Danny on his ass, but the favor is returned to her by Jessica. Jessica, Danny, and Stick meet Matt out back and escape through the sewer. At this point, Jessica says something about how they took Luke, which I don't get because he was just hit with a garbage truck and then she turned around and ran back into the restaurant.
Like,
she has no
did
idea
she
that they
see
took
that happen?
Yeah, no. I guess maybe they didn't. Maybe that was a deleted scene, but somehow she knows that it was their garbage truck. Maybe I don't know. It had
know.
a hand logo on the side.
kinda-
They took Luke. They took Luke
And waste
out.
management.
I feel like I'm missing something there. But Gal force pushing the door open and throwing the dumpster, that was
shit
cool,
is
right?
so cool.
Right?
Like I
It's
had no
a great
idea
trick every
that
time
you
they do
could
it.
see her that she did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see it happen in Daredevil, but I
I think so. I think she does something similar.
I imagine so, yeah. But like seeing her be able to do that, it was just like, oh, so we have like upped this even more
Yeah.
now. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
fantastic.
Our heroes escape through the sewers, which I'm assuming is some kind of Ninja Turtles reference joke here. Right? Come on, they're escaping with Stick, who is the Splinter analogy. I have to believe that that's true because
Okay,
there's no reason for them
let's-
to go into the sewers. After the group gets back to Wing's dojo, Luke shows up and he has Sawande captive. Elektra is back in her room where Alexandra tells her about her daughter she had before she ever went to Kunlun and how she died. She tells Elektra that if she doesn't fulfill her role as a weapon against their enemies, she is useless to her. Meanwhile, our protagonist team surrounds Sawande, who is tied to a chair. They're in an abandoned building now. Theater of some sort, maybe? I don't know.
One of the many
Warehouse?
buildings. Yes.
One of the Danny Rand owned buildings in New York.
Either Rand owns it or Stark owns it. Somebody owns it and no one cares.
We get this glorious moment where they ask, "How much longer do you think he'll be out?" And Jessica says, "Not much longer. How do you know?" Because this is happening. And she punches him in the head, which wakes him up.
I love Jessica so much. Gosh, I really wish that she had so much more to do in the back half of the series.
This is also where we get the quote, I think, from Stig: "You're the dumbest Iron Fist yet."
Just dunking on Danny. I like it. I approve of it. Yeah.
They're basically playing keep away, but like with his feelings and dignity. Oh, so we're doing this now, huh?
Oh, so they question Sawande, but he won't crack. He starts getting into their heads, threatening them and their loved ones, letting them know that they know the Hand knows all their friends. Jessica knocks him back out, and they proceed to go collect their friends to keep them safe. Luke picks up Claire, and I like how she guesses exactly what's going on. When
Yeah.
Luke doesn't want to tell her, she's like, "This is happening, this is happening, this is happening."
Yeah.
I hate being right.
Claire's smart and brilliant and capable and wonderful. And
Yes.
she is probably the only supporting character. I mean, we know that we all want a Patsy Walker series
Yes.
from Netflix, but Claire is probably the only character that we've got in the expanded cast who could run a show.
She
all her own.
absolutely could.
I
Yeah.
would love to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Although, arguably, I would really like to see a Colleen Wing show.
Well, yeah,
I
I
adore
think
her.
Colin
Daughters
Wing,
of the
Misty
Dragon?
Knight, and
Daughters of the
Claire
Dragon. No, sure,
as an
sure,
addition
yeah.
to Daughters of the Dragon.
Let's do it.
She'd
Yeah,
be
it
a
would be
perfect addition to
amazing.
that show.
Netflix,
and we
call
already
us,
we get
email
that.
us, get in
We'll
touch.
talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
later. We do get to see the three of them in
Sure.
action together as a team.
Which is really great. Yeah, I just don't know if our Netflix version of Trish Walker.
Yeah.
Like, I love her.
I want a cartoon version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
lot.
I want like
Like a
Patsy
goofy
Walker. I
cartoon.
want like Hellcat and Friends.
Yes.
Hellcat and her super friends, like cartoon
Oh
show.
my gosh.
It would be
I need
so
that. And I need
fun.
Netflix to do it so they include the Defenders as little goofy
Exactly,
cartoon versions
right?
of
You just,
themselves.
Like, get Kristen Ritter and like Mike Coulter to like voice their
Yeah.
little animated character. Good God. Okay, I have to draw this later.
Yep,
I just
need
realized.
that in my
Absolutely do.
life.
Yeah, I
Definitely
mean,
do,
it's
yeah.
not as though these characters don't already
Can
exist
you
as
just-
illustrations.
Can you
because-
draw me a picture of like Chibi, all of them except Hellcat Center? She's like, "Hey guys, can I join the team?" And then Jessica's just like, "Trish."
Yes, I can do that. Yes.
Danny and Colleen are keeping an eye out downstairs. Colleen doesn't like the others being involved, and this doesn't make any damn sense to me because
doesn't make
she's the
any
one that
sense.
encouraged this, and she says, "I know I said that this is what I wanted, but it's not what I meant. Keeping them around is a liability."
Like what?
What's happening?
What?
What did you want?
Yeah.
What did you want?
Just tell me what you want. And
I
I'll do
wanted a
that
team
thing.
of invincible soldiers that we didn't have to worry about.
Like, that's
I
what
don't
you
understand.
have. I don't understand.
Yeah, her characterization does suffer here a little bit because we
weird.
have to motivate her journey through the back half of the series. And
And-
we're still dealing with fluid Danny here. He is
Right.
just like 3 different characters in the arc of this
He
series.
really, really is.
He's
which
going to
is
get
super
better.
frustrating.
I mean,
Yes.
we're moving into my favorite Danny, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I also didn't really care a lot about like Colleen's whole backstory thing, and just I was painting my nails during those scenes because I was just like, this means nothing to me, and I don't really care.
I also don't love her relationship with Danny. I don't get.
It's barely touched on. It seems like sometimes they're in a relationship, sometimes they're not in this.
Yeah, like are they just
I don't know.
buds? Are they friends with benefits? What's going on here?
I
like,
want more, and I want
Undetermined.
to. I mean, I'm not sure that I want a lot more because it is still Danny Rand, but I want to understand it better. I want more
Yeah.
clarity.
Feel like episode to episode, the writers had different ideas of what their relationship was.
sure, yeah.
They see some black SUVs, and as you know, black SUVs always mean bad guys. So Danny engages some men in an alley. Meanwhile, Colleen runs into her sensei, Bakudo, back from the dead.
This is a great scene. Black SUVs can also mean shield. Just
That's true.
I was
so we
gonna
know.
say that too,
It's-
yep.
You're in trouble one way or the other,
Yes.
but it might be Phil Coulson.
Yeah.
It could have been Phil. I wish he would have run into Phil Coulson in the alleyway.
Oh my gosh. I just want Claire Temple to have secretly been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. this whole time.
I just want Phil Coulson to show up in the alleyway, look Danny in the eyes, go, I don't want you for the Avengers. I just came here specifically to tell you, you're
Nick
not
Fury
welcome.
shows up and just goes, no, motherfucker, and then
Just
walks
in
off.
case you were wondering, you know that we've got an Infinity War coming up. We don't need you.
We don't need you.
Everyone. We're recruiting 15-year-olds from Queens, but we don't want you.
I just got a vision of Nick Fury on the plane with Danny, just showing up on the plane going, there's too many Danny Rands on this damn plane. I'm sick of these Danny Rands on this motherfucking plane.
Yeah, there's one. That's too many.
I don't know why my mind went there.
Sorry,
Anyways.
Danny. Someone out there loves you, not us.
Okay, Danny does get some good scenes later in this
He
series.
does, sure, yeah.
I am now possibly interested in an Iron Fist season 2.
Oh, yeah,
I think
especially
there
if
is
we get
enough
some
potential
team-ups
there.
going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
For sure. When Colleen won't join Bakudo, he slices her across the belly, but Cage throws him off as he, Danny, and Claire arrive. I really like the dialogue here, too. Claire says, that dude was for sure dead the last time we saw him, right? And Danny's like, oh, yeah. And she's like, okay, just checking.
I
Nothing
love
phases Claire.
I love Claire so much.
Bakudo escapes as Danny rushes to Colleen's aid. Matt meets with Karen, telling her that the hand could be coming for her again. She is upset that he is doing the crime-fighting thing again, and she reluctantly comes with him for protection. And there's this nice little bit of back and forth here where he says, you deserve better, Karen, and she says, so do you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I like Karen and or Foggy in this story specifically,
Right.
because this is a story. Daredevil is a noir story where he
Yes.
is being tempted by the dark side. Like
Yes.
he's
Right.
being pulled into the shadows as much as he is fighting people who are already in the shadows. That's a really important dynamic to Daredevil's character, but that is not this story.
Yes,
This
absolutely.
is a story where no, actual bad guys, actual ninjas are going to awaken an ancient evil and things are going to go terribly for everyone.
Now,
I'm
are they?
just a hero.
What is their plan?
Or
Well,
they're going to be
we'll
an
get
ancient
to the
evil.
vagueness,
They're gonna
non-explanation of that.
something the substance.
Something,
Yeah.
something, the substance.
Exactly.
Something,
That was
something,
the
eternal
original
life.
title for the series, but they changed it.
To be fair, like you were saying, Daredevil season 2 does have them playing that role where they're really concerned about Matt. This is affecting their lives. This is affecting their safety. They don't want him to be doing this. It doesn't fit in this show. And this has been a common complaint that it feels really weird. It makes you not like Karen very much. I think Foggy does a bit of a better job of it. He kind of switches his mindset
I
toward
don't
the
know.
end and helps out.
Later, when we are in the police station and he's talking to Karen and justifying the decision to give Matt his suit, and he says, no, but when this is over, we get Matt back. And I think,
Yeah.
Foggy, you idiot. This is literally the dumbest thing that
Right.
any human has said, and you're in a show with Danny Rand.
Yeah, I agree.
The dumbest Iron Fist.
So let's
That's
move.
the subtitle for the second season.
They just turned it into like just a ridiculous buddy cop show
Yep.
with Danny and Luke, and it's just
Luke
God,
Cage
it's
and
amazing.
the dumbest Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Power Man and the dumbest Iron Fist.
Power Man and the dumbest Iron Fist. Luke meets with Misty at the station, asking her to trust him as they bring in Colleen and say more are coming.
Misty Knight is amazing, and I adore her.
I really like her.
Yeah.
It frustrates me that everyone so doesn't want to tell her anything.
Yeah,
I
like,
just don't
what?
get that. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess she's a police officer. You're worried about her because she's not superhuman. You can tell her something.
But I don't love the way that we kind of sideline her in the back half of the season, particularly as we move toward our climax, because she's just stuck in the middle. She doesn't get to be a real friend to our heroes.
Right.
She doesn't get to be an ally to our heroes the way that Claire does, for example.
Right.
But she also doesn't get to be the badass authority figure because we just introduce her boss for no damn reason.
Yeah.
Put her in that role. If you want her to be an antagonistic presence pushing back against the heroes.
I think they're building towards some of the stuff that happens in Daughters of the Dragon, some of the stuff that happens to her in the comics with that, because in the comics she's supposed to lose her job. So I think they wanted to put that in there, that she's doing things that are going to cost her job.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe that's what they were going for, but I totally agree. But just the way it feels in the story, it feels off. And they are going to fix some of that in Luke Cage, because we already saw that the promotional pictures are her and Luke together. So
and with her robot arm.
Yep, with the robot arm.
Yeah.
Really into.
And we'll get to more of that when we get to the end.
It is a problem. It's the problem that afflicts the MCU more than any other, even the Netflix side of the MCU. I think that we spend so much time thinking about what comes next that we oftentimes sacrifice the storytelling in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's understandable, but you need to focus on what you're doing. Show up, tell your story, and let this expanded world kind of accrete around the stories that you've told as it will.
Yeah.
This is not the greatest choice. And it does lead to the sidelining of Misty as well as the sidelining of Jessica in the back half of the show.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Stick talks to Sawande, and here we get one of my favorite pieces of dialogue from the show, which is when Sawande says, "I was wondering when I would see you again," and Stick goes, "Me too," and waves his hand in front of his eyes and goes, "Guess it won't be today."
It just made me think of Toph and Avatar: The Last Airbender, like just constantly wave her own hand in front of her face and like,
I'm
blind. I can't see, you morons.
I'm still loving Stick. I think Stick is just a great character. I get that some people are frustrated by him in Daredevil Season 2, but I like his entire run in The Defenders.
Yeah. Sawande tells a threatening story of how the last time he was captured, his captors eventually knelt before him, and Stick says, "If I kneel before you, will you shut up?" Matt shows back up, and Stick tells him that he needs to lead the group. Matt gets frustrated and leaves. And I like when Stick says, "For a man of who believes in God, you sure like denying that he has a plan for you." And Matt says, "Don't use my faith against me."
That is so good.
Yeah.
It is.
Because like the first half of that line is like, okay, that's standard superhero motivation, right?
Sure,
We're going to kill
yeah.
Phil Coulson so the Avengers assemble. That's,
And can avenge.
like, we understand. Like we will use simple kind of emotional levers in order to motivate our characters in the MCU and superhero stories in general. Everything's a little bit melodramatic. It's a little bit operatic and thus a little more simple. But for Matt to stand his ground and say, no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
That's how complex this character is. That's how strong this character is. He just outshines everybody. It's astonishing.
He's
Absolutely
so good.
astonishing.
Meanwhile, Jessica interrupts Trish having a meeting at a fancy restaurant. They make their way upstairs to a room built for a fight scene where they encounter Murakami.
Now, when you say it's built for a fight scene, you mean that all the furniture is collapsible and there are lots
And
of
it's
plate
just like-
glass windows. And
It looks like they were going to have a dancer, so they just moved everything off to the sides, and it's completely empty for no reason. Right above the restaurant, like literally, like you can look over the edge and see down into the restaurant.
it's good. I love every scene that we get with Jessica and Trish. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, they're really great.
As Murakami is about to stab Jessica, he's hit by Daredevil's billy club, and good old Hornhead, fully suited up, finally joins the fray.
Nice ears.
Yep, it's a great line. Murakami is overpowered by this wonderful team up. After being knocked to the floor below, he disappears. And we get that line, "Scarf looked better." At the police station, Claire patches up Colleen, both physically and emotionally, as Colleen struggles with having been raised by the hand and feeling lost now, saying,
gal pals.
"I just want something stable." And Claire says, "I know, Danny, and this fight with the hand, from where I'm standing, you are the foundation."
Which is fair, but perhaps not terribly comforting.
Yeah,
I like
that's
these
true.
scenes. I really like how we've got all of our, associate casts kind of in this one room, and we get, Malcolm talking with Trish, and that's great. But in the background, you can see Karen and Foggy hanging out.
Yeah.
It's good. It's strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does feel a little sluggish. I do feel as though we lose a little bit of momentum.
True. Yeah. And the thing I don't like about that dialogue is you could take this easily to just say, "Oh, you don't feel stable? Well, everything else around you is horribly unstable. Hope that makes you feel better." Meanwhile, Malcolm and Trish, now at the police station, talk about what's been happening. Karen arrives to see Foggy there too. And this is starting to remind me of the old Suikoden RPG PlayStation game, where as you progress through the story, you just start collecting people and they all come back to your home base and set up shop. So by the time you're done with the game, all of them are just hanging out at your house.
Perfect.
I like that. Like you just said, that all the cast, it's really the intermingling of the shows here at the police station.
Yeah.
So it's
the extended
pretty cool.
Defenders.
But it's still a little kind of tribal. It's like,
it's
Foggy
definitely
and Karen aren't
cliquish,
hanging out with Malcolm.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Who's that weird dude?
Yeah.
Who's the chick with the sword?
They just keep looking over at each other, side eye. Why are they here? Are they friends with that Daredevil guy, maybe?
I love the subtext here that they're all thinking, okay, but we're the ones who are going to have to fix this. We're the ones who are going to have to solve the problem and save the day.
Our
We're
friend is the one who's
heroes.
the superhero. Wait, yours too? What? They form a support group.
That's right.
Superhero Friends Anonymous.
You also see some
Super Friends Anonymous.
You also see some like side characters in there, and I'm wondering, do they work at the police station, or are these just other people that know these people that we don't know because they weren't in the show? Because there's a few characters just sitting around, and you're like, wait, who's that person? Who's that guy?
That's Jessica's dry cleaner.
Her
Very
best
important.
friend.
That's her bartender.
It's one of the bartenders from.
That's Craig.
She's got Craig and Alexis. They're very important to her.
These are the most important people in my life. Malcolm's like, what?
I got off drugs for you. They give me drugs, Malcolm.
Misty talks to Colleen and gives her back her confiscated katana. And I'm like, so it begins. Daughters of the Dragon.
Yep. Gotta happen.
Please, yes.
Gao and Bakudo look at a painting of Kunlun and glaze over their feud in Iron Fist season.
Yeah, I missed all of it. Didn't care. It
Yep.
started happening, and I was like, "Oh boy!" They were like, it was at this point that I realized, "Oh God, Netflix literally did trick me into watching Iron Fist 1.5."
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think it's worth it for Gao. I will watch
Gao's
her
really
all
cool,
the time.
yeah.
And I like Bakudo, but I feel like he just doesn't get enough to do.
Yeah, that's true.
He's just always in that antagonistic position
Yeah.
within the scene.
Meanwhile, Daredevil chokes Sawande, hoping to get something out of him. Danny reacting to Daredevil's Billy Club trick, saying "so cool," and then Luke saying, "I mean, it's kind of cool." I love that.
It's really good. These moments of humanity and almost affection between the defenders.
Yes.
I live for this stuff. Yeah.
I like that they have him tied to a chair, and Matt still thinks he should throw his Billy Club from across the room to strangle him.
Hey, if you can, why wouldn't you?
He's like, check out my cool tricks, guys.
Check this out.
If you like this, you should see what I can do with my vape. As they talk about Elektra, Matt starts to lose his temper, and surprisingly, it's Jessica that steps in to hold him back. Stick encourages Matt to share with the group about his relationship with Elektra. Then we cut to the hand doing exactly that.
Yeah. We might as well just
that
have
was
the
an
heroes
interesting
kind of turn and then a whip pan away to the hand.
Yep.
Then we whip pan back to the heroes and they go, oh, okay.
Murakami tells the other fingers of the hand that the Daredevil is now part of the fight, and his relationship with Elektra could complicate things for them. Murakami, Gao, and Bakudo question Alexandra's leadership. They express a desire to make a plan without her or Elektra. Gao says, "You're afraid of dying. We just want to live long enough to go home."
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, when they're talking about home, they're talking about Kunlun, right?
yeah,
But wasn't Kunlun destroyed? Okay.
it's
To
a
what
disappearing
extent was it
city, so
destroyed?
I don't know.
mean, yeah.
All right.
But they just left that super vague and don't want to tell us, apparently.
Yeah, it is super vague and they don't want to tell us, but we are going to do this scene 4 times.
Yes.
We are
Yeah,
going to
this scene happens a lot. Yeah.
Then Matt explains his relationship with Elektra to the
Oh
group
my God.
and her
Do you
death.
guys get it yet? They totally did it. They
And we get
loved
this
it.
great line from Jessica. Okay, to be clear, we've now used the word resurrected 3 times.
God, I love Jessica Jones.
As the group argues, Sawande gets loose and takes Danny hostage with a sharp object to his throat, explaining he is the key to what the hand needs, and now he has them. Stick just cuts his damn head off, though.
He sure
Yep.
does. He
That
sure
was
does.
pretty, no, that was really baller.
Stick's just like, thanks for telling us what we needed.
It
Dead.
gives us a great intro to the next episode too. We'll get a little cutaway to Alexandra, but then we will get this abandoned warehouse with the head just on the floor.
Yep.
It's really strong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our last scene of the episode, Elektra sneaks into Matt's apartment. She lies down on his bed and she's remembering.
I don't care.
Don't care. Don't
no.
care about Elektra.
I care about that jacket. I want that jacket. That's a cool
That jacket is
jacket.
amazing. I don't know why she's
love
in
that
that the
jacket.
whole time. When we get her back in her like traditional,
It's gotta be
Elektra
hot. I
outfit,
don't know.
It's wow. That is a good look for her. She is physically intimidating. She's physically
Yeah.
present in the scene. It's all good. She can act physically really rather beautifully.
I wish that she would brush her hair.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
like
find
you.
like weird things to pick. I'm like, if I'm not interested in what's happening in the
Listen,
scene,
she
then
was
it starts-
resurrected in a childlike state. They never taught her to brush her hair. They just taught her to slice open throats.
Yeah. She would try and brush her hair with a sword. Is that
You
what
know what? I
is
mean,
that what you
maybe
want?
because then she could cut her hair and it wouldn't be all over her
A
face.
sigh
all the
would
time.
work somewhat, I feel like. It's kind
Wait,
of like a hair
no,
pick.
I don't think that you could. Well, I guess if it was like a razor blade. Anyway.
Moving on to episode 6, Ashes to Ashes. We start off with Alexandra listening to an old record on the phonogram, clearly stressed and trying to relax. It starts to skip and she takes it off examining it. And I really like this scene. There's something poetic about it.
Yeah.
There's like a memento mori reminding her that nothing lasts forever, that this record isn't working anymore, that it's broken. And she examines it, trying to find the problem, gets frustrated, stops her record player.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fantastic. The record, through the fulfillment of its purpose, has been worn out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really,
like
really
no
good.
one did anything to that record. It just got worn
There's
out.
no tragedy here.
Yeah.
It's just life. This is
Yeah.
what it does to you. It reminds me, because of course I am a huge Tolkien fan, which I'm sure will come as a massive surprise to everyone listening to my voice on this podcast. I know, right? So it reminds me of Bilbo at the beginning of The Lord of the Rings, after he has taken the One Ring and has lived a long life, an exceptionally long life, even for hobbits. And he describes his life as being like butter spread over too much bread. That life is just thin. It is worn out. And you see this beautifully in Alexandra. You see it beautifully in Sigourney Weaver's performance. You're absolutely right, Vin. For a short scene that isn't, narrative in its purpose, it is just thematic. It is one of my favorite things in the entire
It's
series.
really, really beautiful
So good.
and really lovely. And I wish that we could have had more stuff like this.
And this is what we lose when we switch to digital technology, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Records are analog. They will wear out. You couldn't have done this with an iPod and an MP3.
Right.
I mean, maybe she couldn't connect to the new network, I suppose. It wouldn't have been
She'll
as
just go,
powerful.
this iPod's so slow now.
Who uses the jog wheel thing? This is terrible.
It takes a whole 2
you think
seconds
that
to
was
load
like-
the songs.
This feels like the olden days.
original record from wherever, like
Yes,
whatever decade.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. This has to be something that she's had for, a century.
Yeah.
Because it also sounds like garbage, which is
It does.
great.
It sounds
doesn't
terrible.
sound like
Yeah.
a good recording. It sounds like a really early recording. Everything about this I just love. And it really makes me want to listen to vinyl again.
Yeah, I have a bunch of that. We should
Yeah.
do a vinyl listening party.
There's
Ooh.
actually a bar not far from here as we're recording that I think once a month gets a DJ in and everyone just brings their vinyl. And
That's
the DJ
cool.
will put together a set list out of the stuff that people bring in. Apparently it tends to tends to ascend into a lot of Motown, which I'm very into.
Well, I
That
can
would
totally
be
throw that off
fantastic.
because I have the Wicked soundtrack on vinyl. So
The Firefly soundtrack.
and the Firefly
Yeah,
soundtrack
the
is right
Firefly
there. I'm
soundtrack.
looking right at it.
Meanwhile, the group talks with Sawande's head front and center in the shot. It's pretty beautiful. Stick explains to the group that they must want the Iron Fist to open something, and it's worth dying for, apparently.
Yeah.
The scene...
How did he jump to this conclusion? I guess
they
the one
said that he was a
sorta gave it
key.
away. Okay, all right.
And I think maybe he said they were the key to opening something. I don't
Is he an
remember.
interdimensional key
Yeah, I don't know.
given human form?
Maybe it's key spelled differently, like a Q. Maybe it
Yeah,
means
like
something
Q-U-A-Y.
different.
It's
It's
not.
cheat.
It's
It's
just-
not.
it's not.
It's key.
We just misread it. He was never the key. Damn it. We should stop looking at his business cards.
We do get another beautiful shot here where the scene shifts and Danny moves to the left side. Stick is standing in the middle in the forefront, and the rest of the group is on his right, staring down Danny.
Yeah.
Like, I love it when a shot can tell the whole story.
I want to
Yes.
call this out, actually. We're not talking a lot about the directors of this series, but this episode and this episode alone was directed by Steven Suryak, who is a Canadian director, and he did a knockout job. I think this is the best directed episode in the entire run. He's notable for working on the film Wayne's World 2. And for working a lot on Burn Notice, which I don't know if you guys have seen Burn Notice, but
Burn
it is
Notice. I love Burn Notice
an
for being just like
exceptionally
weird
directed
daytime
series.
television.
Yeah, really,
great.
really
Yeah.
good series. And a lot of Bruce Campbell in it, which is just great.
I should apologize too, because last time I talked about all the directors and writers, totally forgot to put that in my notes this time.
Whoops.
Let's run through. This episode was written by Drew Goddard and Marco Ramirez, directed by Steven Suryak. The previous episode, Take Shelter, Uta Brisevitz, written by Lauren Schmidt-Hisrich, Doug Petrie, and Marco Ramirez. Marco Ramirez contributing to all of these 4 episodes, the entire back half of the season. 3 of them co-written with Lauren Schmidt-Hisrich. So there's a certain, authorial vision behind this show
Yeah.
at this point.
And now that Alistair has corrected my mistakes, moving on.
We should talk on record here about the raw amount of work that you do on this show and the fantastic amount of notes that you write. Let me just check this. As I'm looking here at the screen, this isn't even going in the gag reel. You wrote 5,700 words about the show.
Yeah, can
I'm
we talk
looking
about
at it
how
right
I
now.
do the
They're
least amount of
color-coded,
work
Vinton.
for this
They
show?
are color-coded.
I did the logo and said, "This is it. It's the logo and me, and that's what you get."
That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we
We'll
need.
watch a movie and then talk about
Sometimes
it.
read a comic.
It's not the
Sometimes
Sarah we
we call
deserve,
it.
but it's the Sarah we need.
Aww.
And if you'd like to check out those notes, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Graphocast,
Yes. Yes.
GRAPHOCAST, where I put up all those notes. Moving on, the group decides that they need to keep Danny away from the hand, but Danny does not like this. Matt gets in his way as he tries to leave, and when Danny punches Matt in the face and Matt takes a second to react before he does anything, he just stops and just like takes a breath.
Yeah.
I love the acting there. It's so beautiful.
Am I going to punch this kid in the face?
Think credit to Finn Jones. Now that he's got a direct kind of motivation here, now that he has like an actual thing against which he can act, he does great work. I really like him in the scene.
Yeah.
And later when we get him tied up, as long as he is like immediately reacting to something in the scene, I think he's really good. When he's trying to convey, you know, the depth of motivation that we get from Matt or from Luke or even sometimes from Jessica, he stumbles a little bit. He doesn't quite have that mastery of his craft yet, but when he's right here and reacting immediately, he's really good. I like him a lot.
I think he makes a good foil to other characters for sure.
Yeah.
Matt and Danny start to fight. Jessica tries to pull Matt off, but Danny pushes her aside. She throws him down, and he tries to hit her with the iron fist, but Luke grabs him, and Danny hits Luke instead. The force of this knocks everyone down and gives Matt a bad ringing in his ears.
Yeah.
I like that in this fight, we get to see this two different distinct styles of fighting, whereas Iron Fist is more like meditative martial arts, obviously trained with monks, whereas Matt's more of a brawler. He grew up with a boxer for a father, and he's ready to just like street fight it.
Yeah, he's not a martial artist. And that's so great in the kind of whole team fight scenes that we get. I've watched each of those sequences like 4 times over just to watch the individual fight choreography.
Yeah.
Because Matt and Luke kind of move like boxers. They move like brawlers. Danny's got this very focused kind of meditative thing. And Jessica's just, she takes attacks of opportunity and pretty much only attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
She relies on the fact, oh no, I am by far the strongest person in the room, so I will just hit you with whatever is nearby.
Yeah.
pretty
Not trained fighter at all, just
Definitely
very
not. Yeah.
strong.
Yep.
I really
Clotheslining
hope she
dudes
takes-
left and right.
She
Yeah.
needs some classes though. She needs to find the one person in
Colleen
New York
Wing.
who can train her with, Krav Maga. She's gonna.
Like her best friend does Krav Maga.
I know.
That's
If
the whole
only there were
thing.
someone who could teach her a thing or two.
I have some headcanon about Trish and Jessica that we'll get to here in a little bit, by the way.
Same
All right.
headcanon that you have about every pair of female characters who fight occasionally.
Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Just wanted to check. I mean, I'm into it. Don't get me wrong.
Listen, I'm given somewhat textual evidence for it, all right?
Trish and
All right.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll put up a supercut on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
Jessica gets up and says, sorry about this, and punches Danny in the head, knocking him out.
She's not sorry.
She's not sorry.
Not sorry. They tie Danny to a chair, and Luke and Jessica share a moment, finally bringing some catharsis to the audience from where they left things in Jessica's show.
I love that conversation.
Yeah, it's really nice. Matt reveals that when he was at Midland Circle before all this, it was a construction site with a giant, super deep hole, which happened on his show. Jessica suggests that they go find more info on the architect of the building. Luke and Stick stay to watch Danny. We see a flashback of Matt and Electra at his apartment, sharing a sweet moment, and then we see President Electra wake up, go through Matt's Bible, and find the memorial card for her funeral, which names the cemetery she was buried in. Stick and Luke talk briefly, and Stick mentions that these bodies in the katana shop were the last of the chaste. Stick leaves Sawandi's head for the hand to find. Alexander talks about how they've all survived assassination tips from each other, but encourages unity this time.
Again.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll have this conversation again. Okay.
Yep. Later, Gal visits Alexandra and says that she will encourage unity as well if she lets them get the Iron Fist without Elektra. Changing clothes to his apartment, Matt finds his Bible laying out and pauses momentarily. Jessica and Matt visit the architect's home. His daughter mentions that he had started sitting at the piano but not playing it. Matt goes to play it and notices a dead key and then finds the building plans hidden inside. The plans show a dome structure 30 stories below. And I really like the moment where Jessica starts talking about Matt's dad.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
This
It's so
entire
sweet.
thing is incredible. Everything that happens in the scene, just structurally bringing the architect back and making him absolutely essential to the climax of the series is genius. That is so well done. But you're absolutely right. Jessica talking about Matt's dad. And apparently, if we interpret her correctly from the following scene, she doesn't know this.
Yeah.
She's just intuiting it.
Right.
She just understands men like Matt Murdock. And that's beautiful. I no longer want a solo Daredevil show. I want him in combination with Luke. I want him in combination with Jessica.
Yeah.
I want these
Yeah.
characters together,
Yeah.
which is perhaps the best thing that you can say about a team series.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about the Avengers. As soon as we hit the first Avengers movie, I'm like, yeah, actually, I don't need another solo Thor movie.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm pretty
Right.
good with this setup.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because obviously we have an end for Luke to be in Jessica's show and then Iron Fist show.
Yeah.
And of course them to be in his show, possibly, and Misty to be in his show. I think we should have a Daughters of the Dragon show. Daredevil's the only one. Well, I think he should be with Jessica in some these shows because they have such a great chemistry. I don't see
Right.
any reason storyline wise for him to have anyone else in his show.
I'm just willing to accept it. At this point, you're going to need to change Daredevil a little bit. It can't be the noir story that it is
Right.
so far because he can't be solo like this.
Right.
But if he has a relationship with Jessica, even a romantic relationship with Jessica that's kind of opposite his romantic relationship with Karen, and now he's divided, so that the primary antagonist of Matt Murdock's new series is the devil of Hell's Kitchen and vice versa. That's what I want. That solo kind of,
interesting.
is he Batman or is he Bruce Wayne? Which one is the mask?
Right,
I
right.
want that story for Daredevil.
Marvel, we're here for you. The song that Matt plays on the piano is the theme to the show itself, which has hints of all the other show's themes in it. And the part that he plays is the part that actually hints at his own TV show's theme. So it's kind
great. I
of
love
a
it.
two-part Easter egg
Love
there.
everything about it.
Meanwhile, Danny and Luke talk, and Luke explains what's going on. This is where we get the line, you've got me tied up like a prisoner. Not like, you're definitely a prisoner. Luke jokingly asks Danny to tell him about fighting the dragon, and Danny starts, and Luke cuts him off saying he was just joking, but then decides to entertain him, saying, molten heart, huh? Bet that must have hurt. And then they talk about Jessica, and Luke says, trust me, I'd face a dragon over Jessica any day. And they're bonding.
Aw, they're
and I really do like the
buddies.
chemistry between
Yeah,
the two
I
of
like
them
it
here.
too.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine I'd like it so much.
Did they actually have a dragon in the Iron Fist TV show?
They don't show it really, but they talk about that happening, and they
lame.
show some like hints of it
I
happening.
guess they couldn't have any of that GOT money, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Alexandra meets Elektra at her grave and explains that she is dying and they need Elektra to be their salvation. This, coincidentally, is the same cemetery where Punisher is arrested in Daredevil Season 2.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Stick tells some of his origin to Luke and then knocks him out with incense and attempts to kill Danny, but Elektra shows up. Stick hesitates with his sword at her throat and she stabs him in the heart as Matt and Jessica enter the room. Elektra knocks out everyone and leaves with Danny.
It's an incredible scene.
Yeah.
Stick fighting with Elektra's katana plunged through his leg is
Yeah.
there's something about how physical that is that
Yeah.
makes me really uncomfortable. It's bad just seeing it kind of sticking out the back
Oh,
of his
yeah.
calf. I'm not into that.
I don't
you
like
guys.
it.
But it's, the scene where he knocks Luke out is fantastic. The
Yeah.
performances are so strong. The dialogue is so strong. And again, we're getting the sense that these characters are actually motivated by something real. There's a genuine difference of opinion here. This isn't the Marvel thing that we talked a little about in the last episode,
Right.
where the heroes come together and disagree or misunderstand
Right,
one
yes.
another and fight until they're ready to put their differences aside and actually take out the big bad. This is different. Stick is different.
Yeah.
And it really works for me.
Yeah.
Very, very
And I
powerful
like
stuff.
the moment where you're not even sure what's happening, and Stick just picks up the plate, and Luke's like, "What is this?" And what's this smell? He's like, "Oh, here," and he starts waving it in his face, like, "Yeah, you want to smell it? Here, smell it." He's like, "Aha, I gotcha."
It's great. And all of the little incidental detail when Luke gets up and kind of stumbles away and puts his hand like on the pillar there that's supporting it and it crumples under his hand, of course. You
Yeah.
don't need to do that TV show. Like, we understand that you have a limited budget for these effects.
Right.
But it's so unnecessary but so precise in its application.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, the more I am convinced this is the knockout episode of the season. As good as episode 4 is, this is the one
Yeah,
that really works
6
for me.
is
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Definitely. Murakami meets with Alexandra to kill her, but Elektra enters, dragging Danny behind. And Alexandra says, "If you knew me at all, you'd know I always win." As the hand gathers to talk to Danny, Elektra once again pauses to look at the pair of sai hanging on the wall. As Alexandra gives her victory speech of dominance over the other 3 fingers of the hand, she tells them to kill these other heroes, including the devil of Hell's Kitchen, whoever he is. And then she is stabbed from behind by Elektra, who says, "His name is Matthew, and my name is Elektra Nochios."
Yeah. I mean, okay, there are beats here that I like. I like Alexandra asserting dominance. I like
Yes.
her believing that she has won. I like this
Yes.
moment of victory for her. I like
Yes.
her saying, no, okay, enough of this. Go kill Jessica Jones. Go kill Luke Cage. Go kill the devil of Hell's Kitchen, whoever he is. And then just kind of reveling in her moment. I don't love Elektra kind of stepping way off the side of the screen and then coming back immediately
crawls
behind.
Hold on, yeah.
and sneaks
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
behind
As
her.
the other 3 fingers are probably just watching her, really upset at Alexandra for this dominant
And
speech
they're
she's
just
giving. They're
like,
like,
"All
what's
right."
she doing? And she's just like crab walking like down, like she gets over there and then like stands up and stabs her. I don't know.
Comedically sneaking. We just-
She's obviously
Yeah,
crouched
yeah.
down behind her. Like
Yeah.
she has to like stand up.
So I don't love the way that it's shot.
It's not super. Yeah, no.
is-
I mean,
I
like,
think
just
it's a
have
strong moment.
Just have Elektra standing there next to her. You don't need to have her walk
Right.
off and then sneak right
Yeah,
back.
or have her throw the sign.
Right. Yeah.
Anything. Literally anything.
Literally anything.
Anything.
Other than what we got, and it was just, man.
But much more
Actually-
It
importantly,
was so disappointing.
it really was.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed.
I would have preferred Elektra just get really angry, be like, his name is Matthew. She's like, what? And then she like
Yeah.
just straight kills her.
Yeah, takes
been
her
good,
head
too.
off in exactly the
Yeah.
same way as Stick decapitated the guy, you know?
Yeah.
We get to see what ruthlessness actually looks
Because
like.
then it would
here.
look like that would trigger it. Is that like she said, whoever that guy is, and she's like, his name is Matthew, gets really angry and then kills her. And I
Yeah.
would have liked that a lot more. Would have been better.
It's
Yeah.
a decent reveal. Like, I understand how we're motivating it. It kind of works for me. But the big problem here is you've just removed an all-time great antagonist.
Yeah, she
Seriously,
was pretty great.
why did we kill Sigourney Weaver?
I have heard other people on other podcasts and things say that they did not like her. I just don't see that opinion.
I
I don't
absolutely don't see
understand
it.
I don't
that.
understand it, but apparently she's not
mesmerizing every time she's on screen.
enjoyed by everybody.
I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised by that.
Yeah,
I'll
me
have to
too.
go
Yeah,
and look up
wow.
some differing opinions here
Nah, I'm
to
not
find
gonna.
out why they're wrong.
Then Elektra tells the others that they work for her now as she slices off Alexandra's head.
I was trying to remember why that was so familiar to me, and then I realized that Natasha says that exact same line in the Black Widow comic that we just read a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
You're right.
This is a callback to the comics because Elektra was the leader of the Hand for quite some time in the comics. She may still be. I don't really keep up with her, so I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I could have probably looked that up, but
No, I
didn't care.
whatsoever. But now she's
Could
the
not
leader
be
of the Hand.
bothered.
Can't be bothered.
Does this make her a finger? Is this how that,
Maybe
Which
she's
finger-
the wrist.
Which one is this?
She's
You
the
work for
palm.
me.
The
So
Your
I am
palm
the
of
index
the hand.
forearm.
finger, your
I am
ring
the
finger,
forearm.
your pinky finger.
are
Which
you
one's
really
the
just,
leader
are you
finger?
just listing fingers now on our podcast?
Well, I think I said last time that Alexander was the middle finger. She's the leader. the
Fair.
tallest
That's the
among
dominant
them.
finger.
Yeah.
Dominant is that your
I
dominant?
don't know.
It's the largest.
I
Or
don't
the thumb
know.
is the dominant finger. I don't
Well,
know.
a thumb isn't a finger; it's a thumb.
Well, okay, but there are 5 fingers to the hand, Sarah. I'm not making
There's
this
4
metaphor.
fingers and a thumb.
I'm not forcing this
Which one's the
horrible
thumb and not a
metaphor.
finger? Gal, she's like one that's in control
Gal
of
is the
everything.
thumb,
She's got her
yes.
thumb in every pot.
Yeah, if you cut off your thumb, you can't really use your hand anymore.
That's right. Can't kill Gal and have the hand exist.
Wow. I don't take it up with who invented the hand? Like Roy Thomas or
God.
something, probably? The capital H hand. I'm sorry. Okay, wait. I'm going to leave all of this in. Sarah can just laugh. The hand. Oh, created by Frank Miller. I'm sorry. I did a major discredit to Roy Thomas there. No, it was, of course, Frank Miller in Daredevil 174, published in 1981. That
Holy
was the
shit! What was he
introduction
doing
of the
for the
hand.
first 170 issues?
Making out with Nat a lot. Like a lot.
Oh, fair. No,
Like
I'm
a
into
lot,
that. That
though.
took me a second,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm into it.
Well, the list of agents of the Hand in the 616 universe is kind of brilliant. Kingpin, Lady Bullseye, Mystique, Sabretooth, Typhoid Mary, White Tiger, notable former members, Black Tarantula, Daredevil, Echo, Elektra, Gorgon, Hobgoblin, Master Izo, Kirigi, Psylocke, Revanche, and Wolverine.
Yep. That covers it.
What?
Wolverine spent a lot of time in Japan, and if you go
He
to
sure
Japan,
did.
you're doing a hand story.
Yep.
That's it. You got it.
Also, can we talk about there is a super-powered individual called the Black Tarantula?
The Black Tarantula. Yes. I'm clicking the link right now.
I feel like you could have guessed that. We were just started
created
guessing
by
superhero
Tom
names.
DeFalco and Steve Scroce in 1997. The character of Black Tarantula was introduced in 1997.
Just a
All
mere
right, well, we
20
got
years
Black
ago.
Widow, we got Spider-Man, we need a third one. What can we call him? Black Tarantula Man.
Nailed it.
Okay.
And then Brown Recluse.
It does make sense, I suppose. He was given the assignment to kill Foggy Nelson. Now you've just listed fingers on our podcast, and now I'm just reading Wikipedia. Vin, please get us back on track. Tell us more about this show that we're
That
discussing.
ends episode 6, and we go to episode 7, Fishes in a Jailhouse. In a flashback, Elektra meets with Stick talking about Matt, how he won't fight in the Chase war, how she can't change who he is, and he calls her out for him changing who she is. The
I still
defenders
don't care.
Yeah, the defenders minus Danny are taken into police custody, having been found unconscious with Stick and Murakami's dead bodies. Jessica is interrogated by Misty again. Luke is still unconscious, and Matt talks with Foggy. This is where we get the quote, "I don't have a choice, he's the Iron Fist," and I'm not going to pretend to know what that means.
Yeah.
Foggy is pretty great
Yes.
through this.
He is pretty great.
This is, I think, by contrast, particularly with episode 6, probably my least favorite in the entire run because it is just so slow.
This is the slowdown episode for sure.
It takes a lot. And it's like one of the shortest episodes. This episode's only 45 minutes long, but it feels like it takes an hour and a half.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's not that the stuff here is bad. It's just that we oftentimes get several versions of the same scene, which is kind of frustrating.
Yes.
But also, it just is glacial in our attempt to get anywhere with the story.
Maybe the show was allowing us time to mourn the death of Alexandra.
And to question their narrative choices.
Yes.
This is just him going, if you want to jump off.
Frustrated tweets. That's what it
Yes.
is. At Netflix. What the hell?
This is just them telling you, if you want to jump off in the series, now's a good point.
Yeah, you can stop here. It's cool. We understand.
Misty tells Matt that he is a witness to a crime. Fortunately, Matt was wearing his normal suit and not the Daredevil suit when they found him. And Matt says, a witness? What do you want me to describe how it sounded, detective? Colleen,
Because he's blind.
Yeah, because
that's why.
Get it?
Wait.
Get it?
What?
Get it? Colleen and Claire are with Luke, and he wakes up as they talk. The Hand tries to stand up to Elektra, saying that this isn't their first coup. She reminds them that this is their first one without their resurrection substance, and asks if they want to take that
That's
gamble.
such a stupid fucking name.
Resurrection substance.
Why not? I mean, like, Dragon Blood? Way cooler.
Yeah, Dragon Blood.
Anything.
But I guess they didn't want to give away, like, the Dragon Bone reveal? I don't know.
You could just call it the blood. If you just refer to it as the blood or
the
marrow, anything.
Yeah,
it doesn't,
anything.
Literally,
anything
again,
would have been better.
Anything would be better than the choice you made, Defenders.
Gao explains that Alexandra led the business side of their group, and that's how they had so much power. Elektra tells him that hiding isn't power, and that she doesn't care about the hand, only the substance.
I want to correct myself. Not literally anything would be better. Don't call it like Cool Whip. Like that would be worse. That would be like objective. The poop. This is your first time without the resurrection poop. Well, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. That is worse. That is worse. So just to clarify, just to stop the emails that I would otherwise have got. Yes, okay. But
It's the metaphorical literal. It's a thing
Figurative literal
in
is what I
English
wanted
now.
it's the second meaning of the word literal.
That's right.
It's fine. It's not the first word in English that means two contrary things. Contronyms, they're called. Look them up. They're pretty great.
I didn't know they had a name. That's
Yeah,
neat.
contronyms.
That's fun.
They have a name, but the substance doesn't. The police captain can't get info out of the Defenders and almost books them, but Matt convinces him to give them a moment. Karen talks with Matt, saying that she doesn't understand why he went back to this after finally rebuilding his life, and he replies with what exactly I needed him to reply with, saying, Karen, this is my life.
Karen?
Good job, Matt. Good job.
God, Karen.
Karen, we don't want you to be the worst, but sometimes
You're the worst. Well, she might be even more of the worst next season if they really go off of the comics that I think they're going to go off of. We'll get to that later, though. Claire tries to encourage Colleen that Danny will be okay, saying he's the Iron Fist. And Colleen says, and he will tell that to anyone who will listen.
Which I really like that moment. I like that beat a lot.
Colleen mentions that Danny really is just still a kid looking for his family. And in the comics, he is often portrayed as immature. This totally does fit the comic version of him. And I like the character growth that he is just this immature kid who lost his parents, grew up with monks. He didn't learn anything. He knows nothing. Of course, he's childish. And now he's growing up.
Lots and lots of things about Danny Rand's characterization in his show, presumably, though, again, I haven't seen that show. But from what I understand of his show, and certainly here in The Defenders, there are lots of things about his characterization that would work were it not for the hard contrast with the white savior storyline that we're doing.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
If there was more justification, more explanation, if we'd gone deeper into his backstory, all of this would work better. But as it is, we're left with a character who is not that appealing still, unfortunately.
The three Defenders talk, deciding that the Hand must be taking Danny to unlock that dome-like structure. Foggy interrupts, taking Matt aside, warning him of the dangers of his two lives colliding, and then gives him his costume, saying he is trying to help. And I love that Matt thinks it's just clothes and is just trying to dismiss Foggy, like, thanks for the clothes, thanks. And he grabs the bag and he's like, feels the weight, and he looks back at Foggy like, huh. And then also Foggy's line, that's what family is for. Really like that line.
Yeah.
Love that line. Yeah.
Matt re-enters the room telling Jessica and Luke, here's my official legal advice. And we cut over to the captain threatening Misty that she's on the verge of ruining her career when a boom is heard, an alarm goes off, and our three Defenders have escaped through the wall.
It's great. It's perfect. Of course they escaped through the wall.
Luke Cage, the Kool-Aid Man, basically the same person. Just burst through the wall.
Here's my official legal advice. Break that wall. Also, can you guys turn around really quick while I change?
Yeah. Hold on while I change. And have you seen the Kool-Aid Man commercials? Do that thing. Colleen sneaks into the evidence room, takes the explosives from the architect's place, and sneaks out of the police station. The defenders, realizing that the police are out looking for them and they don't have any money, take the subway with Jessica's Metro card. Jessica takes a beer from a passed out homeless man and chugs it. And this scene is really great. I like that they're forced to slow down. They're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, and they're just like, "We gotta take the subway." And they're just sitting there.
Yep,
It's really good.
great. The
It's
pacing
so
is
good.
great. Yeah. It is unfortunate, perhaps, that we give Colleen something of real substance and competence to do, while we play Jessica's alcoholism for a joke.
Yeah.
A little uncomfortable there, but the scene itself, really good. I just
But
wish
it
that we had-
has been a long week, Alice. It really
And also,
has.
she hasn't had a drink in like 48 hours.
This is all great. If we just hadn't hit, there's nothing wrong with this scene or even
Right.
this episode. If we hadn't hit her alcoholism as hard as we did right back at the beginning of the series, then I would feel better about this joke right now. But particularly when you watch it
that's true.
in its marathon binge format, this can feel a little like, okay, but she
has
actually
a problem.
dealing with something here.
Yes.
Yeah.
The defenders arrive at Midland Circle and encounter the remaining 3 fingers of the hand in the parking garage. Electra takes Danny down an elevator, showing him the wall that they need to get through with ancient language written on it. Electra told him in the previous Iron Fist sealed it, meaning that only he can open it. She unbinds him and tries to talk him into helping her, but he refuses and they begin to fight. The defenders,
I had no patience for this scene at all, because as soon as he was like, well, I'm not going to do it, I'm like, okay, she's just going to make him pissed off, and then he's going to fight her, and then he's going to punch the face. All right, I can go ahead and get another Hot Pocket now. Like, I don't have to pay attention to any of this. I know exactly how this is going to go.
I kind of liked it once I got past, this is the Chamber of Secrets. You just brought Danny Rand to the Chamber of Secrets.
Yep.
I mean, that's fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
I like that at that moment, when they start their fight, the defenders also start their fight with the hand.
Yeah.
And I know that Gao is super powerful, but it's still hard to watch an old lady be knocked around.
Yeah.
But she is really
She
powerful.
is like the most powerful in the hand, for sure. Colleen arrives to join the fight, facing off against her old master. Feeling they are losing, the hand make their escape, starting a fire from a pipe. And hey, look, Colleen has Danny's spot on the team, for now at least.
And isn't the team better for it? Isn't it good? Okay, this fight sequence is great.
Yeah.
The fight sequence, actually, I genuinely don't hate the Danny Electra stuff down in the Chamber of Secrets. I think that the fight sequence is great. And I'm even somewhat convinced by her at this point. Just saying, no, this is all garbage. None of this stuff matters. But you are the Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
You exist to do this thing. That's a good line of argument. But yeah.
Misty and Claire arrive, joining the group. Misty offers to stall the police, surprisingly, which I really like that dialogue there, where she's like, no, I'm saying, how long do you want me to stall them?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Electra is winning the fight with Danny, and she goads him into using the Iron Fist by saying that she killed everyone in Kunlun, which I don't think she really did. I think she's just saying that.
Nope.
Because it doesn't make sense for her to have done that. She leads him right into using it on the wall to open it, and it knocks out the power in the entire city. Matt uses his senses to find the elevator that goes to the dome. Colleen shows that she has the explosives, and the architect plans to take out the building. They argue at first, but Matt informs them that the hand are the only other ones in the building and that they need to take them down for good. And technically the police are literally right outside the door in the parking garage, so not actually a great move there, Matt.
Well, no, I like this because they've got the architect's plans, right?
Yes.
Because they know that they can strategically...
They know exactly how to blow this
bring
building
this
up.
building
Yeah,
down
yeah.
without
But-
collateral damage. Or at least if they believe the architect.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a really shitty architect, you guys.
But have they never seen a movie? They want to take out the hand by blowing up the building and hoping that they're dead and still in the building somewhere. You have to kill the bad guy face to face, otherwise they're still alive.
That's the point of taking out the building, is in order to destroy the dragon bones, right? Because if you collapse the building onto the dragon
They
bones...
don't know about that.
Yeah, they have no idea about the
Well,
dragon
but
bones.
did the
They're
architect
literally- they're
know?
No, he knows that there's a dome.
They know that there's a dome beneath the city, that something bad is going to happen.
The city of
presumably if
refuge
hand can
is
get
there
into
in the
it,
dome.
And they know that the architect was planning on blowing the building. That's all that they
Yep.
need to say. No, we could probably kill the hand with this, though, right?
Yeah.
A building.
Let's
sounds like an
blow up
excellent
their
weapon.
building and
Let's
it'll take
do
out
it.
everything. Anyways, we have to just move on past that. Inside the wall, Danny sees a skeletal structure and we zoom out to see a giant dragon skeleton in the shape of the tattoo on his chest.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of seeing that tattoo.
I don't hate the tattoo.
I like the tattoo.
And I like the skeleton. It's pretty good. And
Again, I got super excited. I was like, hey, is that a Chitauri Leviathan? Oh, no, it's a dragon.
it does feel a little flamboyant. It does feel as though the dragon is kind of posed.
And that ends episode 7, bringing us to episode 8, The Defenders. You know, the Defenders show, now the Defenders episode.
I'm into that as a naming convention. I like the idea that
Absolutely.
the climax is given the name of the show.
Yeah.
And it justifies it to a certain extent.
Right.
Yes.
Luke is still uncertain about the plan. Claire agrees that the plan is insane, but admits that it is the best one because of how dangerous that the hand is. And Luke says, "Sweet sister," call back to Sweet Christmas, his catchphrase from the comics.
I love that. I also love how far we go to establish that there will be no collateral damage.
Yes.
I mean, the building probably technically counts as collateral damage.
Because Luke Cage is
but no one
basically the
gonna die.
Superman of this
Yes,
universe. He
absolutely
refuses
right.
and he's like the Boy Scout.
Yeah.
It's not Captain America. Captain America is not the Superman of the Marvel Universe. Apparently it's Luke Cage.
No one is in this building. No one is going to get hurt. No innocents are going to die. We're just going to take out the hand, brackets, and
Just
everyone
blowing
who
up a
works for the
building.
hand. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That still makes you domestic terrorists,
But
technically.
he still struggles with it, which is
Yes.
fantastic. Oh, God,
Yeah.
I love him. I love
Yeah,
Luke Cage.
it's a
And
very
even
good
Jessica
scene.
agrees with the plan because she's just like, can we get this over with, please? I just want to move on with my life.
Get back to my life. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense with their character.
Sure.
They talk about placing the explosives and setting the remote. Colleen and Claire go to work on that. The police reveal that the building is in some sort of high-tech lockdown, so they can't get in. Plot reasons. And Misty reveals that the C4 is gone from the evidence room. They clear everyone away from the building. Conveniently. Thank
Yay!
God that the police found that out.
It's on high-tech lockdown. We tried pushing the door. It says pull. Yeah, but we tried pushing the door.
We need the scientist.
Where's Banner?
Gao arrives as Elektra walks into the room with the giant dragon bones. She explains that the fossils are the last deposit of the substance that they need. She says that when they take the substance, then the city will crumble. So we know that the city's still in danger here.
Apparently, all of New York is built upon the literal spine of
Yeah.
a dragon.
Yeah.
It's magical, guys.
It has to be magical somehow, I guess. I don't love this. I really liked the beats that we got, the foreshadowing earlier. You know, it's just a city. You'll get used to seeing them fall.
Yes.
Apparently, you won't get used to seeing them fall because this is the last dragon. So New York's the last
Yeah.
city that the hand is ever going to
Yeah, that's a good
First off.
point.
That is a good point.
Because they did mention they've other cities have fallen because of them, because of the dragons and everything. But this is the last
God,
one.
that's a really good point. You know, that line really should have been
No, you know
like,
what? It's
don't
fine.
worry, it's the last city to ever fall.
Alexandra
Ever.
knew about other dragon bones. There's your headcanon explanation.
There you go. And Alexander just wanted to destroy other cities for funsies.
And I mean, like,
Prague, you're next.
You're next,
these
Prague.
dragon bones, I mean, I don't know how much of the substance you have to take in order to have, like, I mean, it's not quite eternal life, is it? Because if you,
You have
keep
to
having to go
bathe in
down,
it?
if you keep having to go to the thing, it's not actually
Well, no.
granting you eternal
But
life.
Gao doesn't care about eternal life. She cares about going home. The
Okay.
other fingers in the hand just want to go back to Kunlun.
It's Alexandra that wants to just live
She wants
forever.
to live forever, so presumably she would have harvested all of the substance and kept it for herself. Again, not immortality, but close. Close.
Right.
She could have spoken to Dr. Arnim Zola and uploaded herself into a computer bank.
and that
could
would have worked a
also
lot
work.
better. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
At the police station, Trish and Karen bond over their experiences with all this craziness and their crazy friends, which I do like that we get the crossover there with those two.
Great
Yes,
scene.
yes.
Yeah.
This is where my headcanon comes in because Karen refers to Matt as a good friend, and then Trish immediately says, "Yeah, Jessica's a good friend too." And I'm like, we're choosing very interesting word choices here to talk about our friends.
Well, to be fair, she talks about how she's not a good friend in the classical sense because she's never
Well,
there
no,
for
I mean,
anybody.
of course. I mean, like a lover is rarely a good
But
friend
the
in the
stuff that
classical
matters.
sense.
Also, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with them being lovers because they're kind of sisters.
Oh, that's fair. You know, right.
Not
I
fully,
take
but
out all my
kind of.
headcanon. I'm
yeah, let's
sorry.
not Maximov this. This is
Oh, no!
Although, let's see, those ones are our siblings and in some canonical comics,
No,
lovers.
I don't count it.
Moving on. Matt, Jessica, and Luke head down the elevator to where we get our awesome opening
Yes.
quote. I'm not
Yes.
going to hug you.
That entire sequence
It's
is
great.
so
It's
good.
good.
It does make me crazy a little bit though, because Matt finds the hidden door. That's
Yeah.
great. And then says, "Hey, Luke, open this thing." And Jessica's just standing there, you know, being all super strong and having no other powers or purpose in the plot. But hey, let's let Luke Cage open the door for the lady.
Who is stronger, Jessica or Luke?
Canonically,
probably
it should be
Jessica, yeah.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because Luke is invulnerable. I mean, we've kind of amped up his strength, which is fine.
You're right.
But his power is invulnerability, not super strength. That's not his primary power. Jessica's only power
is super strength.
Right. And things that come along with that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Meanwhile, Bakuda finds Claire and Colleen setting the explosives. Colleen and him fight. Danny starts to fight the men excavating the dragon bones, and Gal tells him to save his strength and taunts him about his pain. Murakami takes him hostage as they hear the others descending. Jessica arrives as the only one in the elevator, telling that the hand that she just came to talk. Luke and Matt catch the group off guard, swinging into action, which brings enough surprise for Danny to free himself, and we have a full-blown ninja battle.
This, I think, was my favorite of the fight scenes because I don't think that it's actually this one. I think it's the one that happens here in about like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But whenever you've got the camera that is just slowly panning around and you get to like see everybody, and it's like there are no like cuts. You're not doing a whole bunch of like super quick edits that make things confusing.
This is digitally composed.
Yes.
There are a few kind of hints here that suggest that, this wasn't shot in one fluid sequence.
Well, sure, but it looks
It's
like
enough.
a single fluid sequence,
Right.
and
You're
that
right.
always impresses me.
This would be a knockout fight scene if not for the fact that it is immediately followed by the Wu-Tang Clan and an even greater fight scene.
Yeah, for sure. I really like that when Jessica first comes out, she talks to Elektra and says, ever since you burst into my office, my life has become one big kung fu party.
One big kung fu party.
And then when she helps out Danny, she says, let's go, Ironclad. And he says, it's Iron Fist. And she goes, I know. Which Ironclad is actually a minor Marvel villain. Little Easter egg there.
Oh, boy.
Danny tells the group that Elektra killed Alexandra. Matt says the only way to get out of here is together, echoing Stick's words from episode 5 that Matt specifically ignored.
Yeah,
He's learned his lesson.
Matt goes out to fight with Elektra and to try and get her back, betraying his kind of loyalty to the team that hasn't yet formed at that point. But it's fine. But Matt is now leading, and that's great to see.
Danny uses the fist, knocking all the baddies down to the ground, and we get the Wu-Tang music cue.
It's cool to see.
This is the best music cue in the entire
I
series.
was
Perfect
so
song choice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
confused by the Wu-Tang Clan music cue. I don't know. I mean,
Why?
like, I don't know if I didn't have my sound turned up enough to be able to fully appreciate this, but I mean, just like the music starts swelling and rising, and suddenly rap music, and I was like, what is happening?
It's not the house style for any of these shows. It is different. The closest we've got to this is the hip hop beat coming behind Luke Cage.
But it's the house style for Luke Cage, for sure, because he gets Wu-Tang and all sorts of things going on
Not for
there.
Defenders. And so it does feel a little intrusive and a little odd.
Yes.
And I'll admit, the first time that I was watching it, I did kind of, wait, do I have another tab open somewhere?
Right? Yeah, no, I was really confused.
Do I have Spotify open? Sorry. But no, watching it again and kind of being prepared for it, God, it works brilliantly.
Okay,
And
I'll
this
have to
fight
check it out
scene
one more
is
time.
Phenomenal.
Also, this song references Spider-Man in the lyrics.
I know,
Which
I
I don't
love
know
it.
if we got that in the show. I didn't listen. I need to go back and
it's in
listen.
there.
Is
It's
it in the
in
show?
there.
Okay,
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, so there's that.
So, okay, let's run through the canonicity here.
All right.
The Defenders are in New York, probably 40 blocks away from where Spider-Man is right now.
Yes.
In the MCU, Wu-Tang wrote a song, including lyrics about Spider-Man, who is in their world real. And now we're listening to it.
Yeah. Also, we saw that garden where Spider-Man was.
There you
That's
go.
not necessarily the same Spider-Man, but let's glaze over that. We'll get another Spider-Man reference here in a moment as
It was
well.
Spider-Man before his last regeneration.
Yeah, of course. Spider-Man is just like an Iron Fist title, really. You're the dumbest Spider-Man yet.
I'm in love with both of you.
What's great is that we're both talking about different Spider-Man, because I'm definitely talking about Andrew Garfield and you're definitely talking about Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I was.
Tom Holland, we love you.
We love Tom
My
Holland.
sweet little soft boy.
Yeah, the best Spider-Man.
I really do enjoy this moment where Daredevil and Iron Fist have this double punch moment where they both punch guys and they're standing next to each other. I'm like, yeah, I want more of that.
Yeah,
I could deal with
Really
some more of that. Luke covers Jessica from gunfire, pushing her to the ground, and then she says, remember this? And he says, just like old times. Gal slips into the shadows slowly, watching the battle.
Goodbye, Defender.
As Elektra is the last one standing, fighting all 4 defenders, and Danny runs out of chi juice, just losing all of his power.
You had one job? Is that the
Like,
beat that we're going to go
how?
to?
Well, I don't understand.
Your
I mean,
chi power
like,
had
what?
one purpose?
He's got to fight some more baddies to build up the meter so they can get his special again.
This is super meter.
Okay. So his brake limit, like you screwed it up. You didn't
He
hit
used
the
it
A
too
button
early.
quick enough. Okay, yeah, and then Kefka came back, and it was a
You
whole
can't
thing.
use your brake limit right before the big baddie.
No, you
fight
gotta
at
wait.
the
No,
end.
okay, it's
What
not
do
his
you do?
final form. You gotta wait for the final form.
That's right. Colleen's battle with Bakuto continues, but she is distracted when more disposable ninja guys come in and he slices her across the back. Misty joins in, shooting the last disposable baddie and aims her gun at Bakuto. He walks toward her as she fires several rounds into him and he knocks her down. He continues his sword fight with Colleen, but he gets her sword and Claire tries to be helpful but gets both swords put to her throat by Bakuto.
Whoops.
Misty tries to stop it and he cuts off her arm.
There it is! The moment we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good.
fantastic,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, this is really
and
cool.
the comics, Misty has a robotic arm, as we mentioned multiple times. This was teased but not fulfilled in Luke Cage's season. Colleen gets back the sword and cuts off Bakuto's head, ending that.
Which was also pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Who builds Misty Knight's arm in the comics?
I was
Okay.
just wondering
In the
that
comics,
exact thing.
Yeah.
In the comics, it's Tony Stark.
That
Okay,
you know
good.
what? I freaking knew
And
it.
I'll talk-
I knew it. I would have bet money.
I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the hospital scene later.
Okay.
Claire rushes to help Misty as Colleen realizes that the bomb timer was triggered by Bakuto. And really, at this moment, I'm just thinking, can we please get Daughters of the Dragon? Please,
Like,
with
this
all
is
three of these
amazing.
ladies.
Yes, I
Come
just
on,
wanna
Netflix,
see
Very, very good.
please.
Claire and Colleen
More of
and
this.
Misty running around, kicking ass,
Yeah.
slicing ninjas, robot
Lots
arms.
more of this.
Yes.
Matt hears the bomb timer beeping. Jessica momentarily knocks down Elektra. Matt tells the group that they need to go, but he is going to try to get through to Elektra. He whispers something in Danny's ear, probably, "You're the worst Iron Fist ever." As they head to the elevator.
I hate your stupid face.
No, we've seen this. This is the beat from the end of Wrath of Khan where he puts his, spirit into Danny, and Danny will then spend the next series trying to find him. That's the setup for Defenders.
He just says, "Stop being a white savior."
Quit it.
It's tropey.
Just quit it.
very
Danny, just
tropey.
stop.
You have like a 7.1 on IMDb.
Matt tries to talk sense into Elektra as they fight. He says they can walk away from it all like that she wanted before. But she replies, "Before you let me die," and slices him across the belly.
God, I did not care about this scene
Nope.
at all.
He takes his mask off and makes one more plea that she not let herself be controlled, and she argues that she is just being herself.
Yeah.
And Elektra seemingly just wants Matt to die with her. She is crazy. She's crazy,
What
right?
is happening
Crazy,
here?
but I kind of like this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think the performance is great, but I kind of like the spirit behind it, which is, yes, she's crazy. That
She's
she
crazy.
has been, like,
They have already
broken
said
by the
previously
resurrection
before
thing.
that the resurrection thing can drive you
Exactly
crazy.
right.
That was a big
Yeah.
thing in Iron Fist season, especially.
So I like
Oh,
that
really?
notion,
Okay.
and I like the idea that she's not thinking clearly, that she does want to die, but then she says, "But you'll be with me where you belong."
yeah.
The idea that they will, yeah, absolutely, she's going to kill him, but then she'll die too, and they'll be together because on some level she still loves him, and that is so much better than, "Matt, you're right, I had a terrible dream and now I'm back to normal again." Like, this is great and dark and applies leverage to Daredevil in exactly the way that you need to apply leverage to Daredevil. I actually like it conceptually very much. In its execution, it definitely stumbles a little bit. Not least of all because I just have trouble with her accent. Like,
Yeah.
I just have trouble kind of pinning it down. It's not that it's weird, it's just that it's inconsistent.
Elektra throws a sword into the gears of the elevator, breaking it, and the other three defenders fight off Murakami and his henchmen. Murakami is thrown from the elevator to his presumable death. Jessica climbs out, catching the elevator as it
I
falls and
love
holding it for
this
Luke and
so
Danny to get
much.
out. Yeah.
God, it's so
Just
good.
great.
She's just like, with one arm, she's like holding this thing,
And then,
like,
you
"Get
know,
out already."
Yeah, Danny and Luke get up there, and Danny's just like, "No way!" Like, I love that. I love it.
Surf Dude Danny's pretty
Yeah,
good.
Surf Dude Danny is good.
Yeah.
The group meet up with the Daughters of the Dragon. Misty is bleeding out, and the police finally got into the building, holding them at gunpoint. Luke says, "I'm sorry, I can't let this happen," and stands in front of the group, which I assume he means let the police get hurt in the explosion, since that was his stipulation to the plan.
yeah.
Bakuto lays bleeding out, impaled and on the ground. Gao tells him that this is the end. The defenders are seen running from the building with the police as the bomb destroys the building. I guess they couldn't figure out how Luke could convince the police to run, so they just skipped to it.
Yeah. That's entirely
They're
it.
like, "I don't know how to do this. Let's just skip to that scene." As the bomb goes off, Elektra apologizes for all the pain that she has caused Matt. He says they're going to die, and she says, "No, this is what living feels like." Yeah, I can't think of anything that feels more like life than the flaming building falling on you. She is crazy. This is what life feels like.
Have you ever tried it?
No.
Well,
I
there
guess
you
not.
go.
Maybe you've never truly lived.
Listen, I've had some amazing food that I could say is living. A fiery building falling on me? I don't think that's going to compare.
I kind of want a cocktail entitled "The Flaming Building Falling on You."
Okay,
Yes,
yeah, we need to
yes,
make
yes,
that happen.
yes.
We know some friendly bartenders.
Yeah.
We know some
Yes.
tame bartenders
Yes.
in their natural habitats. We can
Yes.
definitely ask them for
In their
that.
natural habitats. The defenders stand with the police, staring at the demolished building. Danny says Matt whispered to him, "Protect my city." And I'm thinking, why are these kidnapping terrorists not in cuffs in a SWAT truck or something?
Fair.
They're just
Definitely
standing there
fair.
next to the police.
Because
thought
the
that too.
first thing they all said when they ran out of the building was, "Wow, Matt Murdock made us do so sorry, the devil of Hell's Kitchen, he made us do some crazy things." Mind control? Probably mind control. He controlled our minds. Here's the thing. I love Protect My City. If it counts for anything. If this is going to motivate Iron Fist Season 2, then I am in.
And it looks like it will.
Great.
But we'll see.
Good.
The Defenders are reunited with their friends at the station, and Karen and Foggy share a brutally emotional moment when
It
Matt
was
never walks
hard
through
to
the doors.
watch. Ooh,
Really
they
hard.
did a really great job.
Yeah, they
with
took
that.
just
Yeah.
long enough for
Yeah.
them staring at the door going, is he gonna, and then as Karen just slowly turns into Foggy, realizing it's not gonna happen.
It was very, very good. Yeah.
Just brilliant.
We jump ahead to Trish on her radio show saying unpermitted construction was to blame for the building's collapse, and then oddly enough, it settled the ground from the earthquake.
Weird.
Yeah, how about that? Trish can't believe Jessica doesn't want anyone to know what they did. She says that they should be proud. Jessica is focused on the life they lost, not the ones that they saved.
Oh, Jess.
Foggy tells Claire and Luke that the NYPD didn't file a report on this. Or didn't file a report so that the city can't file any charges. According to the DA, it's over, and more accurately, never happened. Okay, sure. I'll go along with that, I guess. Seems legit. Who's doing all this covering up in their favor?
It's gay lawyer mom.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, Hogarth is an interesting, but even then, we're already kind of thematically suggesting, texturally suggesting that Hogarth may be working with some kind of force.
Yeah,
out
there's
there
been
in
some,
the
like,
MCU,
yeah.
Shield, perhaps?
some kind of big bad, or I
Something's
doubt
going
it.
on.
We're going to use her for something much worse than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise Coulson would have stepped out of a dark corner and said, "Welcome to level 7." It would have been great.
That's what he says.
Why
He
do
says
you-
it to
okay,
Claire and
wait,
Claire
wait,
only.
wait.
He just walks up, welcome to level 7, Claire. And it looks like what? He's like, you need to leave the room, please, sir.
Every single one of you, go.
do not have
I
clearance.
am now so sad that every single Netflix series doesn't end with Clark Gregg walking out of a shadowy corner.
I'm
Only
sad
a matter
that
of time.
everything on Netflix doesn't end that way.
Man, Fuller House got weird and
Yeah.
consensual there at the end.
Foggy
The
does.
last meeting glow was unexpected.
Foggy does take some of the credit, saying that the law firm is at their assistance. Claire and Foggy share a moment talking about Matt, and it's now time to tease all the new seasons that we're going to get. Colleen sits next to Misty in the hospital. As she wakes up, she tells Misty that Danny has connections to help her out, that he actually owns the hospital. And we're getting a bionic arm from the comics, which we've already seen teased in the Luke Cage promotional stuff since now. In the comics, she loses her arm in an explosion at the police station, and Tony Stark hooks her up with a bionic replacement. She loses her job as a police officer and then begins her career teaming up with Marvel heroes to fight crime. We get a lot of hints in the show, too, that she's going to lose her job. That keeps coming
Yeah,
up
yeah.
as a...
Yeah. So are we thinking that Ranco is going to build her arm in the Netflix series?
Yeah, well, I think Danny's going to just throw some money at someone smart. I don't know.
Stark,
I don't know why you wouldn't make it Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, like, you just really want to keep the thing separate, which is interesting.
Well,
but I
which
mean,
they
like,
clearly do. I mean, they
sure,
don't like
yeah.
using those names.
But I mean, yeah, we've talked before about, you know, oh, this is an Ultron arm or whatever. You know, we did that. What was that? That was in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I guess you could just be like, yeah, here's just like a Stark robot arm. We just have them.
You now have an Ultron arm.
You
Missy.
now have an
I hope
Ultron
that works
arm.
out well for you.
Leading arms.
Your
and
arm wants to
prosthetics.
take over the world.
Yep, just your arm.
Also, the patient care board reveals that Misty's being looked after by a nurse, L. Carter, a reference to Linda Carter, the main character known as the night nurse in the comics. That Claire is actually taking the role of here in the
No
MCU.
relation to Agent Carter or Sharon Carter?
No,
Okay.
no.
Or Wonder
But
Woman.
another...
It was played by Linda Carter, which is why they don't use that name anymore.
Okay.
No, but she is actually the woman who's supposed to be Doctor Strange's girlfriend thing in the movie,
yeah.
but they chose a different night nurse to play that character rather than her.
Oh,
So that's an
okay.
interesting twist. Additionally, the patient care board features the name Dr. E. Wortham, which is a reference to a Spider-Man comic book villain, Cardiac, a surgeon whose real name is Ilias Wortham. And also on the board are the names of Misty Knight's two creators, Tony Isabella and artist Arvel Jones.
Neat.
Just cute little.
Yeah, that's great. No, I
Some
love
stuff
that
there.
stuff.
Little
Netflix
Easter
series
eggs.
kind of leans away from that, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Luke meets Jessica in a bar. Surprise,
Of course.
surprise.
Shocker.
They get some resolution and tease at their future together, possibly, maybe? He
We should
asks...
get some coffee sometime.
Yeah, he asked her...
That broke my heart. Like, that line physically hurt me because, like, it clearly took a lot for Jessica to be able to say something like that, but
Yeah.
he's, like, with Claire right now,
Yeah,
so...
that's true. Coffee is code for sex. That is quite clear in the Marvel Netflix shows. It's happened like 4 or 5 times
Really?
now.
I didn't know that.
Getting coffee means having sex with Luke Cage. Someone on the internet referenced that they think that his penis is just named Coffee. That's just what he calls it. I don't think that's canonical. Colleen gets back to the dojo and talks to Danny. He is focused on Matt's sacrifice and taking Matt's request to protect the city very seriously. Jessica returns home, booze in hand, after just leaving the bar having too many shots there already and Luke buying her another one, to see Malcolm fixing her place up. He says it's almost like we're back in business. And she says, yeah, almost, and peels the paper off of her new glass door, revealing the name.
Yes. Love it.
I made a joke in the last episode about Trish Walker just keeping Glazier on contract, and here it is.
Clearly, she really does, though.
If episode 1 of Jessica Jones season 2 doesn't break that glass, I will be very surprised.
No, I quit. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, she needs to throw someone else through that glass.
Dear Netflix, I'm canceling my subscription.
More than an episode without happening. Karen and Foggy meet in Matt's church. Karen says she isn't going to write her story on all that happened because it wouldn't take very much to connect the dots on who Daredevil was. Danny sits on top of a building looking at a red lit skyscraper wearing his trademark yellow and green, taking over the mantle of New York City's Guardian from Daredevil. And the tracksuit he's wearing is actually really reminiscent of what he wears in the comic now with these yellow stripes going down the sides.
Yeah. And his physicality in that scene is very Daredevil.
Yes,
and the way the shot
very much so is.
Because we talked last time about the way in which this show hybridizes the visual approach from all of the constituent shows.
Yeah.
But here we're getting this is Danny shot like he's Daredevil, which is
and I like
so
that
great,
he's
so
looking at the
powerful.
red skyscraper.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a callback there. And I think it's worth mentioning that Danny has actually taken on the role of Daredevil in the comics before.
Oh.
He's put on the suit for Matt multiple times. So that's
Wow.
could be, I don't think he's ever going to do that in the show, but that's
Just to
a
show
Easter egg.
up when
Yeah.
Matt Murdock's like, Daredevil? No, I'm
Well-
not Daredevil. Look, there he is.
Yes, exactly. That is what it was. Because multiple times in the comics, Matt has been outed as Daredevil. And one of those times he was like, Luke, can you put on this costume so I can be like, hey, there he is right over there fighting crime and I'm standing here?
Perfect. Okay.
It's perfect. Perfect plan.
Yeah.
Perfect plan. It's just as perfect as the shirt that says I'm not Daredevil, which he wore around when everyone thought Matt Murdock was Daredevil. He wore a shirt that just said I'm not
Is
Daredevil.
that how that works?
That's in the comics. We'll get to it. I really want to cover those comics. They're really fun.
Now, in the comics, are the eyes of the Daredevil mask lenses or are they opaque? Because now I've got this great vision of Danny Rand wearing the Daredevil outfit, just stumbling around because he can't see a damn thing.
No, he's looking with his chi.
no, he's
chi.
not.
He's
no,
not.
he's not. He's not.
And this takes us to possibly the most intriguing last scene here.
Yeah.
Matt, badly injured, starts to stir in this place, this nunnery of sorts. And a nun sitting by him tells someone off screen to get Maggie. This is the exact look, like exactly the way they do it. It's the splash page from a Frank Miller Daredevil comic starting the series Born Again. Sister Maggie is Matt's mother in the comics, which is
What?
hinting that we're going to be going toward the Born Again storyline
Yeah.
by Frank Miller in Daredevil season 3. This is a run by Miller where Karen Page sells Matt's identity as Daredevil for a drug fix. Karen gets into some dark stuff in the comics, which has been hinted at in the show.
Possibly, at least. Yeah.
And Kingpin gets this information and basically wrecks Matt's entire life.
Oh no.
This is also where we get the psychotic super soldier Nuke, who Officer Simpson was based off of in Jessica Jones.
Oh, I hated that guy.
He was the worst.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is great
the
in
worst.
Daredevil because he has this American flag like tattooed on his face. He's like just a super roided up soldier. And Captain America actually comes in and fights him.
Yes!
So Daredevil doesn't have to. And Captain America's like, no, I'm going to put down this guy because he needs someone like me to put him down.
I love Captain America.
Yeah. Good on you, Cap. We're clearly going to do a version of that story here on top of the scene with the Maggie reference. They would be woefully misguided not to bring back D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Of course, they're going to want to do that. We got a bunch of references to Matt's two lives colliding and that being really devastating if people knew. So definitely they're setting up that story there.
The emotional dynamism of Karen and Foggy being so relieved that Matt's alive, and then, oh no, wait, our lives are now going to be destroyed
Yeah.
because you're alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen already said that if she wrote the article, it would be easy to connect the dots too. So maybe she will be connected to how the info comes out, just like in the comics, which of course, I'm not sure they're going to do it the exact same way because we don't have
Sure,
Karen
yeah.
set up as a druggie yet.
Yeah.
No, but she can easily be tempted now to
Yes.
sell this information to tell Matt's story because
Right.
he's dead.
Well, yeah,
and,
and
people
if
should
she
know
re-
that he was a hero.
Yeah,
Right.
if she believes that Matt is dead, then all that also. I mean, the same reason why we see Jessica like in the bar and is so concerned about
Yeah.
Trish is like, well, you saved all these lives, and she's like, yeah, and we lost one.
Yeah.
You could see how like Karen would either get into drink or drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
like,
she's already been in a pretty bad place in the first two seasons of Daredevil, and now she's mourning Matt's death on top of all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she already's been hiding some secrets.
right, and we
dealing with some
definitely
stuff.
do not shy away from those things in these Netflix series. At all.
Also, I would really like for Elektra to be dead, but she's one of the hardest people to kill in comics, so I don't have high hopes. At least give us one season without her of Daredevil, please.
That is what
At
I
least
expect.
one season.
I would expect Elektra to return in the season finale for season 3 of Daredevil, or the season premiere for season 2 of The Defenders, or whatever.
Yeah.
I would expect her to come back. I actually think I like Elektra more as a part of Danny's storylines. Like, I think she might be better as a
I
part
can
of
see
an
that.
Iron Fist story that has nothing to do with Daredevil. But, well, you know, you're right. She's not done. She's not dead. She will definitely come back at some point. Even if we have to recast her, even if we have to reboot her, there will be an Elektra 2. We'll
Right.
do something because, yeah, you're right. You just can't kill her.
And if your Netflix didn't force you to go on to the next show and you were able to actually watch what happens after the credits, you get a Punisher teaser.
You sure
Which
do.
Punisher is the next show?
Looks dark as
Yeah,
fuck.
as it
I
should be.
do not think
Yep.
I'm going to be able to watch that. Just the few like splashes of like gore and violence and blood that I saw, I was just like, I will not be able to enjoy this.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's gonna be dark.
So brutalist, too.
Yes,
It's, God.
brutal is the
Yeah.
word that I was. Yeah, brutal AF is what the
Yeah.
Punisher looks like.
They did show the Punisher at the end of a Defenders featurette, leading everyone to believe that he was going to be in this show, but he didn't show up. They just had this teaser at the end for us, which is
I'm
fine.
fine with. Yeah. I don't know.
It would have been
God,
too much
I
to
don't
throw
know
him
how
in
you
there.
navigate that tonal disparity. That would be really, really tough to have Luke Cage and the Punisher in the same world right now. But
Yeah, that's
maybe
for sure.
someday. Maybe
I'll
someday.
bet Luke Cage could go up against the Punisher pretty easily, get shot by some rockets and stuff.
Oh,
Be fine.
sure. No, you can take him out. I mean, okay, philosophically, like thematically, I love that conflict because we just talked about how Luke Cage is the Captain America of Harlem. Like,
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Just a genuinely good man going up against the Punisher, who's so much more complicated and so much darker. Yeah, there's something there that I like, but... whew.
I have a couple of closing thoughts. One of which is just because I couldn't find out where it happened in the show, so I didn't want to put it in my notes. But Gal calls Jessica the unyielding woman, and
Yes.
I really like
I
that.
like that a lot too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really
it's
like that a
right
lot.
before the first ninja fight in
Yes.
the basement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the hand. We talked about how vague their plans are. We don't even know what Black Sky is. This is not a thing from the comics. It's not explained
Seriously.
anywhere. Who knows what this is? And if their whole thing was to get back home to Kunlun, as we mentioned, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to accomplish with getting this dragon? Why not just go?
Well, particularly because for all of the foreshadowing we get about Kunlun and the Black Sky and the hand and immortality or just longevity or whatever, all of that stuff is shuffled aside so that we can do a MacGuffin plot.
Yeah.
And
we can replace Dragon Bones with literally with the Chitauri Leviathan,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
with Stark Tech, or
Yes.
with a magical bauble. We can replace it with an Infinity Gem for
Yes.
all the bloody difference it makes to the end
Right.
of the story. It could not matter less.
And
that is
What if it
frustrating.
had been an Infinity Gem?
it's in the eye of the dragon. That's the missing one right there. Luke Cage ended with us heavily hinting that the hand had attacked Kunlun. If they were just trying to get home, why not just go home? You were there.
Like, you were right there.
You're right there.
I genuinely, and perhaps this is because I just haven't seen how these stories have unfolded in the
Sure.
other shows, but I don't know. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
sure.
they purposefully kept everything vague because they just don't know what they're going to do with
Is
it, I
it
guess.
possible that Elektra did kill everyone in Kunlun?
I don't think so, but maybe.
How does
Wasn't
that
she
timeline
like?
line
I think the timeline doesn't
when
work
was
out
she
well.
resurrected? Yeah, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
because I mean, this is Daredevil season 2 was like alongside of Luke or alongside of Iron Fist, I would assume, so which would mean that she didn't have very much time to do that thing. All of her training and being re-raised. I don't know.
don't
We
know.
don't, we
I
don't
don't
know
know.
how much time has passed between, because we get the flashback of her resurrection. I'm not sure we know exactly how much time has passed between that resurrection and her appearing again in the present
Right.
now of the Defenders. So maybe she was off in Kunlun. I genuinely,
know.
but this is the problem. I don't know, and I'm paying more attention
Yeah.
than most people. I
Right.
just don't understand what the plan is here. Besides, let's get this magical MacGuffin. I mean, it could just have been like sacks of money. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It could literally have been the Maltese Falcon under the streets of New York.
It doesn't matter.
And that would have done it.
Maltese Falcon is the final Infinity Stone.
But that's our show, everybody.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
So
the Defenders.
that's the Defenders.
What do we make of Defenders? Sarah, has your ranking of the Defenders changed at all after watching the back 4 episodes? Are you more positive, less positive?
I
About
think
the
less
same?
positive, honestly.
Really?
I
Okay.
really, I think that it's fine. And I would probably, I think I might rank it like right under Jessica Jones, but Jessica Jones is still my favorite of the Netflix series. And I feel I really don't like, we kind of sideline like a lot of our female characters in the back half of this show so that we can have our boys run around doing a lot of kung fu, which is really cool.
Well, we sideline a lot of our characters. I mean, you're right. Part of the problem is that the Defenders are 3 boys in a
Yes.
cast that is actually more diverse than that.
Right.
And is more, open to
Yeah.
positive representation.
Yeah.
than that. But you're right.
But yeah, I like it really is, it's very much Matt Murdock's and Danny Rand's story, and I feel like Luke and Jessica just really don't have a whole lot of space within
they're
that.
just not
Jessica least
connected
of all.
enough to the plot.
Yeah,
You're right.
absolutely.
Luke and Jessica belong in the story where the hand is actually masquerading as like, what is it, Midland Circle Financial or whatever
Right,
it is.
yeah.
Because that kind of corporate corruption Yeah, that's a
Yes.
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones story.
Right.
But also, they're mystical ninjas, not so much.
Yeah,
Right.
Jessica Jones does not belong in a kung fu party.
I would invite Jessica to my kung fu party.
She would just drink the whole time and be really grouchy.
That's literally everything that I want from her.
But yeah, so it's I don't know. It was fun to watch. It was interesting, but I'm definitely looking forward to Jessica Jones season 2 now. But I don't know if I'm like, this series does not make me want to pursue Daredevil or Iron Fist or Luke Cage any further.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think you were a little more positive on Luke's series in particular after talking about the first half of the show, right?
I think so. Well, and I mean, like, that's the other one that I've seen the most of, which I really enjoy. But again, I've heard that like the second half of that season also just kind of goes way off the rails. So I don't know.
Well, I think we forget too when we talk about Jessica Jones, we remember all the good bits about Jessica Jones, but Jessica Jones is also real long, you guys, and we kind of circled the block a few times there in the last act. Yeah, but I think Jessica Jones could really have benefited from being in this 8-episode structure, and I hope that this is what we get going forward, because it's not.
They've already announced that they're doing. Well, they've only announced Punisher, but Punisher is going to be, I think, 13 episodes long.
How many episodes was Jessica Jones? 12?
I think they're all 13.
Yeah, I think so. But this worked for me. I like the concision. I like the punch of it all. It was much better. Vinton, how are you feeling about the back half of the series?
I mean, I watched the whole thing before, so I have a hard time like categorizing it in halves. But it's about the same. I really do enjoy it. I think there's certain episodes that stand above all the Netflix things. Like I think 4 and 6 are my 2 favorite episodes of all the Netflix.
Put 6 above everything else that they've done on Netflix. I love it, and I would put 6 alongside the best movies that we've seen from Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, really?
There are parts of 6, that opening sequence with Alexandra, I would put that alongside it, and actually it's very compatible with, weirdly comparable to, Winter Soldier. I think that stuff is so good, so rich.
But ranking wise, I would put it right below Daredevil season 1 and 2, right tied with Jessica Jones, and right above Luke Cage, and far above Iron Fist.
I think The Defenders is my favorite Netflix series.
Wow.
I think I like it more than I like Jessica Jones because it is so focused. And it's not that it's as consistent as Jessica Jones. I think that if you kind of take the average of it, Jessica probably does do a little better. But the high points here are so high. Yeah. The good stuff is so good. And there is conceptual stuff that I'm just willing to kind of go along with, even if I don't like the execution. Like Danny, on some levels, actually works really well as a character for me. And Elektra, on some levels, works really well as a character for me. And I can kind of skip over the fact that I don't really enjoy either of those performances. And it's fine. They fight the Chamber of Secrets. I'm good.
I should say that it might be my favorite. I'm kind of holding myself back because I really like teams. I really like team ups.
Sure.
I mean, I grew up with X-Men and Spider-Man never fights by himself. In the old Spider-Man comics, he's constantly teaming up with everybody. And I just love it when there's like this good chemistry between multiple heroes.
Yeah.
And so there is a part of me that wants to say it's my favorite, but I'm kind of just like holding myself back going, I just watched it. Don't say that just yet, because you say that and then like next year you'll look back and go, that wasn't really true.
Sure.
What are we doing next week?
Next week, we are going to discuss the 1998 4-issue run of Superman for All Seasons, written by Jeff Loeb with art by Tim Sale. That's right. We're going to talk about Superman. 22 episodes into our run here on Excelsior, we're going to talk about the most famous superhero.
That's right.
Wow. Well, good for us.
Great.
I'm proud of us.
This is absolutely a self-contained series. It's gorgeous. It's drenched in Americana. It is about Superman as an archetype, as an ideal. This book, it's only 4 issues. You can read it very quickly. You'll really enjoy the art, if nothing else. But I genuinely think if you are the kind of person who can love Superman, this book will make it happen.
I think so too. It's
Great.
probably one of my favorite Superman books, and I don't really care for Superman. I'm sorry, guys, but I really like this book a lot. I like this book a lot.
No,
Very, very difficult character. So
Excellent.
that's Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Check the show notes. There's a link there where you can pick this up on Amazon. That's going to be next week.
Yep.
And then we have some big plans, which I don't think we're going to talk about just
No,
yet.
we'll
Not
talk about
yet.
it next week. Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. So thank you guys so much for joining us for the show. If you want to talk to us, you can do so over on Twitter. You can find us at Excelsior Cast. You can find me at Elsa Grab the Salt.
You can find me at Paper Bullets.
And I'm at Flesh Eater. And please remember to give us a rating and review on iTunes. That really helps us out and gets us noticed by other people and makes us feel all good inside.
Yeah.
It sure does.
I think that's pretty much going to be it. So once again, from Common Room Radio, I'm Sarah K. Bazan.
I'm Alistair Stevens.
And I'm Vinton Band. And ever since you burst into my office, my life has become one big kung fu party.
Excelsior!
Excelsior! Kung fu party.